Welcome to the Horseshoe, a place not known for luck, but for dominance. In its 89th year as home to the Ohio State Buckeyes, it's become synonymous with tradition, pageantry, and the excitement that is college football. Over their history, the Buckeyes have won 7 national championships, none more memorable than the last. A double overtime thriller in the 2003 Fiesta Bowl that saw the defending national champion Hurricanes go from victory to defeat. Today, 2 new versions of those teams meet for the first time since that night, both with hopes of returning to Arizona at the end of the season. Quarterback Terrell Pryor will have to carry much more than the Buckeyes' #2 ranking on his back if his team's to run the table. The U's quarterback also carries the 12th-ranked Hurricanes' fortunes on his shoulders, and by the end of the day, they'll know if they've truly returned to the elite of college football. It's the Miami Hurricanes and the Ohio State Buckeyes in ESPN's College Football next. Welcome you to ESPN's College Football, presented by Cars.com. Columbus, Ohio, the matchup, an intersectional matchup between number 12 Miami and number 2 Ohio State. Over 105,000 have packed into the Horseshoe this afternoon, mostly clad in scarlet and gray. But it's been a who's who of former players as well. Jeremy Shockey and Edgerrin James, 2 former Miami Hurricane stars. And the likes of Orlando Pace, one of the greats in Ohio State history as an offensive lineman. And yes, the boys of foul are here too. Kenny Chesney and company. And we welcome you, everybody. Brad Nessler with Todd Blackledge. How big is this game? It's number 2 against number 12. Quite frankly, though, if those 2 teams want to get to the Fiesta Bowl, they've got 2 chances should they lose today. None, and run the table and hope for help. But this week, partner, you're a quarterback. They've been talking about quarterbacks. These 2 juniors are pretty good.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm really excited as a former quarterback to watch the matchup of Ohio State's Terrell Pryor and Miami's Ja'Cory Harris. Both guys are enormously talented physically, and in this, their 3rd year of playing, they both want to take the next step in their development of quarterbacks and lead their team to a championship level performance. I think last week they both got off to great starts, but no duress. They'll both feel a different kind of heat tonight.
Does Miami have a chance?
They have a chance, but it won't be with their skill and athleticism and speed. It'll be because of the big guys inside. If they hold their own at the line of scrimmage, Miami has a chance.
Ohio State, the number 2 team in the country. They're the defending Rose Bowl champions. They're the preseason favorites to win the Big Ten and maybe much more this year. There's their leader, and there they come. They've only lost 2 non-conference games under Jim Tressel's leadership in his 9+ years. They don't plan on losing another one today, but they've had some big games early in the season that they've had trouble with. They know that. They hope for a fast start today. Miami, they've got upset on their minds. They've gotten 2 games better each year under Randy Shannon. If they win 2 more games than a year ago, it puts them in BCS category. And here come the Hurricanes. They've met 3 times in history. We talked about the last time, the Fiesta Bowl. They'd both like to get there this year. This is only the 2nd week of the season. It is September 11th, though, and we all remember where we were and what we were doing on that day 9 years ago. We lost over 3,000 of our fellow men and women on that fateful day. And to honor what happened 9 years ago, right now, let's go to our PA announcer for a special pre-kick moment.
gentlemen, as we pause to reflect on the events of 9 years ago, September 11th, 2001, when the United States suffered attacks in New York, Virginia, and Pennsylvania, please join in a moment of silence in honor of all of those lost that day. Thank you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, to honor America, please rise for our national anthem, performed by the award-winning country artist from Columbus, Rascal Flatts.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we've watched, we're so gallantly streaming in the rocket's regular, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. No, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Rascal Flatts, thank you.
Joe Don Rooney, Jay DeMarcus, and Gary Leebox. Rascal Flatts. If the game's as good as the national anthem, we're in for some fun in Columbus this afternoon. Ja'Cory Harris set to gear up the Hurricanes on the road. But in the way, Terrell Pryor and the Buckeyes of Ohio State.
ESPN's College Football, brought to you by Dr. Pepper. There's nothing like a pepper. Cabot Wood Stains, our performance is legendary. And AT&T. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest mobile broadband network. AT&T. Rethink possible.
Feels like a bowl game, and it's only the second week of the season. Terrell Pryor, speaking of bowl games, the Rose Bowl MVP. He was sensational in that game, and he has picked up where he left off, or at least the Ohio State fans hope that's the case. He led the team in rushing last year with 779. They prefer that he didn't maybe rush that much, but he's improved as a passer, Todd, and we were watching him at practice the other day.
He really has, and you can tell it's really a credit to him as a worker and how important it is for him to become a great quarterback, because mechanically he looks so much better. He carries the ball much higher. His footwork is much more precise. I mean, he is determined to become an excellent pocket passer, and it's shown so far early this year.
And we'll see him early in the game because Ohio State won the toss and they want the football. Ja'Cory Harris will have to wait on the other side, and he's come a long way as well. 11-5 as Miami's starting quarterback. He had trouble against Virginia Tech last year, had a little trouble in the bowl game that we did against Wisconsin, but in between he showed flashes of brilliance too. He has a beautiful arm. I mean, he can make every throw that you would want a quarterback to make. Decision making the key for him this year because he threw 17 interceptions in 2009. Matt Bosher, one of the great kickers and punters in college football, has got it teed up. Jamal Berry and Jermell Hall are back deep. Perfect day for football. Perfect day for the Canes and the Buckeyes. Here we go. Great kick, about 8 yards deep, and Berry will have to down it. And Ohio State will work from its own 20-yard line. Let's take a look at the Buckeyes starting lineup as Jim Tressel's got some final words for his quarterback. Here's how the offense looks, and the big eaters up front. Adams and Bohr and Brewster as the anchor at center, Browning and Shugarts. The backs and receivers, Brandon Sane will alternate with Boom Heron. Bohr in the fullback, Sanzenbacher and Posey are the wideouts, and Stoneburner is a good tight end. First snap will come from the Buckeyes 20-yard line. But we'll wait for it for just a second. They're going to start with the ball right in the middle of the field. They had it on the near hash, and so the referee straightens that situation out. Now we're set for first down. Sane got maybe 3. Alan Bailey made the stop. And speaking of Alan Bailey, he is the bell cow of that front four defensively for the Hurricanes. They're getting back to the kind of Hurricane teams they had with a lot of depth on the front wall. Bailey, Holmes, Fortson, and Vernon, who had a big game last week. Robinson, McCarthy, and Spence are the linebackers. And the secondary's got some experience. Ray Armstrong had a touchdown and an interception return last week. Telemac, Harris, and Van Dyke join him. Second down and 7. Miami shows blitz off the corner. They back out of that. And Terrell Pryor with a quick throw to the outside, complete to the first down, and out to the 37-yard line to Posey. Pick up a 14.
A lot of cushion out there by DeMarcus Van Dyke, respecting the speed of Posey. And that's an easy throw and catch for Terrell Pryor. And you love when your quarterback can get off to a start with an easy completion. Look at that cushion. Nice easy start for Terrell Pryor.
And they've worked it to the 37-yard line. 3 wideouts as Torian Washington comes in to join the group. You look behind Terrell Pryor on Ohio State's first down. They'll give it off to Brandon Sane. And Sane, not much. Fortson made first contact. Brandon Sane had a 100-yard game last week in the opening win over Marshall. And a couple of touchdowns as well.
And we talked about Alan Bailey, number 57, holding his ground as a defensive end. Now, he's played inside as a tackle, outside as an end. Quite honestly, Wisconsin had success running at him in the bowl game last year. That time he did a nice job maintaining his position and forcing the runner to roll to fill outside.
One of the captains of the defense, number 57. Second down and long after a loss on the play back to the 36-yard line. Pryor flushed out of the pocket. Terrell's going to take off with it. This is what he does so well. And he puts his head down and gets a first down. Over the top of Brandon Harris, who picked up 12.
And what you don't expect from Terrell Pryor, and you can't really prepare for it, is how fast he is when he does leave the pocket. Von Telemac, the free safety, had a good shot at him. He was unblocked. He had a good angle. But Terrell Pryor just ran right past that angle.
And that's something you can't get your scout team to run all week long if you're down in Miami getting ready, because he glides and he is much faster than his size would normally let him be at 6'6" and about 235 pounds. First down at the 48. Play action. Pryor goes short over the middle. Got it to Sane, and Sane is going to be very close to another first down. He might have it. Colin McCarthy, the linebacker, made the stop.
A nice run-pass balance here in this first drive for Ohio State, getting Terrell Pryor comfortable. The coaches are really high on Brandon Sane. Obviously, he's their starting tailback, but as a gifted receiver as well. Really like him coming out of the backfield.
Caught 17 passes, including a couple of touchdowns a year ago. They're going to bring the chains out and have a look.
You know, as they're measuring this, and you go back to the run, the scramble by Terrell Pryor. I mean, most of his runs, the big runs, came on scrambles last year. Not necessarily on called quarterback runs. They do have some of those in their offense, but most of his big plays as a runner come when things break down and he creates on his own.
And on third down is when he really becomes dangerous as a runner. He was one of the best in the country in that capacity a year ago. First down, just outside the Canes 42. Opening drive for Ohio State. Here's a toss sweep. Brandon Sane, and he's going to lose a couple. So the last 2 times Sane carried it that way, he ran into either Fortson or Bailey, and a loss on both plays.
Miami can play up front. On the defensive line, on the offensive line, the big key for them in this ball game. You know, Ohio State, going back to last year, rushed for over 200 yards in each of its last 5 games. So, I mean, they are going to try to run the football right at Miami and challenge them physically in this game.
Long yardage in an empty backfield. Now on 2nd down and 12. Pryor in the shotgun. Quick throw over the middle, incomplete. Intended across the middle for the tight end, Stoneburner.
Well, here we go with the 3rd and long now for Ohio State's offense. And we mentioned when he gets to 3rd down how effective he is. 366 yards rushing on 3rd down, 2nd best in college football, and 16 runs of 10 yards or more. And part of that is he's fast, and part of that is he's really strong.
Yep.
So, I mean, he's like tackling a tight end that caught a football in the middle of the field.
And he has one of the best stiff arms in college football at any position in the backfield. He'll be deep in the backfield in the shotgun on 3rd down and 12. Sets up, fires over the middle, and he overshot his intended receiver by quite a bit. Posey was the intended receiver, and Miami holds after the Buckeyes had a nice drive going.
A little pressure from Olivier Vernon, number 35, caused Terrell Pryor to not get his feet set and make an accurate throw on that play. And a big stop on 3rd down for the Hurricanes.
So Ben Buchanan comes out to punt. The new punter, he only kicked 4 times a year ago, and that's a guy you just as soon not kick it to. Travis Benjamin. Benjamin is lightning quick. He has a look and has to call fair catch. Nice punt. Down at about the 10-yard line. So Ohio State had something going under Terrell Pryor. Now the Hurricanes and Ja'Cory Harris will see if they can do likewise when we come back. In the middle of that humanity is junior quarterback Ja'Cory Harris, number 12, leading the number 12 team in the country, 11-5 as a starter. Over his career, more than 4,300 yards. Had a great season, top 5 as far as all-time Miami quarterbacks. But as Todd said, that 17 interceptions, that was the bad news. And he's in a noisy spot, and they'll spread out from the 11-yard line.
Now, this is a funky formation. We got linemen out here, too. This is not normal.
Harris flips it the other way. Completes and cartwheeled out to the 14-yard line as Chase Ford, one of the 2 tight ends who was in there. He got about 4 yards. Solomon Thomas out there to help on the stop.
Here they go, 2 minutes. They ran the whole first half against Florida A&M last week in a 2-minute offense.
That is a lateral, but it's a completion, and it's going to be a loss of about a yard for Damian Berry. Ohio State's defense showing their speed.
Yeah, there's a lot of speed on both of these teams on the perimeter. I mean, Jermel Hines did a great job of fighting off a block from his safety position and running him out of bounds for a short gain.
You want a little noise in the first 4 minutes of a ball game? Try 3rd down, Miami, from its own 15-yard line.
Cameron Hayward, their top lineman, is inside. He's a tackle in this 3rd down situation, not an end.
Harris, quick roll, throws left, and it's going to be short of the 1st down out to the 20-yard line to Leonard Hankerson. Whoa, they got a good spot.
Boy,
I'll take it back. I thought his knee hit down at the 20. And if that indeed is the spot, it looks like they're going to have the 1st down. They do. They won't even measure. So big completion there and an extra effort. And Hankerson, that 6'3" really helped. If he was 5'10", that's not a 1st down.
Well, and Devon Torrance, number 1, slips. Otherwise, he might make that tackle short of the 1st down. He slipped.
I don't think that was a 1st down.
Well, snap the ball if you're Ja'Cory Harris.
Yeah, you bet. And a loss on the play. Damian Berry and Cameron Hayward, guy that Todd just talked about, the senior captain out of Swanee, Georgia, with a big play there. Offensively for Miami, Orlando Franklin on the left side, Gunn, Horn, Washington, and Figueroa. Backs and receivers. We've already seen Berry drop for a loss. Hill, the fullback, Gordon, the tight end, and Benjamin Hankerson, the starting wideouts. Although we'll see 4, 5, maybe 6 wide receivers that'll shuttle through there. Mike James, in fact, joins the Miami backfield right now, number 5. Second down and 12. Hankerson in motion. Berry broke one tackle. I don't know if there was a face mask in there, but his head got turned around and he picked up 3 yards. Ross Holman, the linebacker, made the stop for the Buckeyes defense. It was very stingy last year. They were number 5 in basically every category, and they got a lot of guys back. Thomas, Larimore, Simon, and Hayward up front. The linebackers, Holman, who just made that tackle, Roll and Sweat. And in the secondary, some nice experience. Checkwa, Torrance, Barnett, and Hines.
And for Ohio State, good news if you're a Buckeye fan. Number 43 is back out on the field for them. Nathan Williams, their best pass rusher, has been out with a knee injury. Here he is right here as a stand-up linebacker, an outstanding pass rusher.
4 wideouts for Harris. Fires across the middle. Nice play and intercepted. Picked off and down the sideline. It's number 43, Nathan Williams. Flags are down. Didn't need him as a pass rusher. Needed him as an interceptor. Brad Allen's our referee with the flag down. Here's the call.
During the return, blocking below the waist, number 51 of the receiving team, 15 yards from the spot of the foul. First down.
It was a great play by C.J. Barnett. He was the primary guy in coverage and got the deflection. Watch the ball come out of Ja'Cory Harris's hands. It's deflected by Barnett right into the arms of Nathan Williams, who was not rushing but dropping into coverage. But he is a big-time player for this Buckeye defense and sets up their offense right away. This team had 24 interceptions last year. Very opportunistic Ohio State defense.
Jim Haycock and Jim Tressel told us yesterday, if we get 20 plays out of Nate Williams, we'd be happy. I don't think they thought the first play that he was in there, he was going to pick off a pass and set up the offense. At the 25-yard line, a golden opportunity for the Buckeye offense. Herron in now at the tailback spot. And Boone Herron will get the call. Weaves his way inside, and he got 9 down to the 16. Telemac made the stop, and you hear the chants of boom for Daniel Herron.
That was a nice patient run by Boone Herron. He just kind of danced around in there and allowed some guys to fit on some blocks and then just move forward for 9 yards. It wasn't there initially, but he was patient enough to get 9 yards.
Great play to work with. Second down at a yard. And they'll get the first down from Herron.
Now you talk about Miami and what do they have to do to have a chance to win. We mentioned play well in the trenches. It is almost a given. They had to take care of the football. I mean, that is something they can't afford to do, to come into a game like this and turn the ball over. Ohio State last year was plus 17 in turnover margin, one of the best in the country. They don't beat themselves. They allow you to make mistakes, and then they capitalize.
So a first down at the 14. They switch Stoneberger now, the tight end, over to the left. They're powered that way, but they'll come back the other way with Herron. Broke a tackle. 10-5 in. Touchdown.
Well, there's a penalty right at the goal line. Looks like an illegal block on a wide receiver.
Devere Posey is going to be the guilty party more than likely.
Holding, number 8, offense, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Negates a touchdown.
Boy, this was really well blocked by everybody else. Zach Boren, the fullback. Justin Boren, his brother, the guard, pulled around and got a big block. And Posey, you know, you can't fault a guy for trying to block downfield and getting his guy in the end zone, but that's a long time to block a guy.
So instead of a 6-0 lead, the line of scrimmage is the 13-yard line.
And I'll tell you what, 2 costly penalties against Ohio State.
Yeah.
One on the return of the interception that brought him back and gave Miami some room. And now on taking a touchdown away, gives the Miami defense new life.
More in the motion man, and he'll be the lead man for Heron, who got it down to about the 11-yard line. Randy Shannon knew coming into this place that the first quarter was going to be huge.
Anytime you play in a big game on the road, it's going to be the first quarter. And it's either way. Either team control the first quarter. If it breaks out even, that's the type of game you're going to have. It goes either way, one side or the other, that's the type of game it's going to be. So I think the biggest thing is the first quarter of how both teams respond to each other.
Now it's Ohio State's quarter. Still no score, though, with just under 7 minutes remaining in it. Pryor, play action. Throws on the run, and it tipped and incomplete. Stoneburner covered out there by Sean Spence.
When I've watched Terrell Pryor throw now over the last couple days and on tape, I think he has a better feel for the intermediate to deeper routes. He throws those more naturally than the shorter routes. That time, a very easy throw to Stoneburner, and he threw it too hard. It was high and a little bit too hard for his tight end to bring in.
Heron will stay in there at the tailback spot, but they'll add an extra wide receiver.
And this is where you got to see what does Miami do to account for Terrell Pryor as a runner in this third down situation.
From the shotgun, it's going to be a quarterback draw, and they're going to wrap him up short of the first down. So Miami was waiting on that. Sean Spence and Marcus Robinson did a good job of staying home and filling the lanes, bringing down Terrell Pryor. That'll bring out the field goal unit for the Buckeyes.
Well, right here is Sean Spence, and he's going to be what you know as or call a spy. Now, they also got good discipline from their end rushing up the field, but watch Spence. He's zeroed right in on Terrell Pryor, and then they get 4 white helmets to the football to stop him short.
Devin Barclay is going to come in to try to put our first points on the board. 24-yard field goal attempts. He hit his only attempt last week in the win over Marshall. From the right hash from 24 yards away. The kick on the way, and it's good. So Ohio State capitalizes on that guy's interception. Nathan Williams set up the offense, and though it sputtered and was forced for a field goal, they do have the lead at home. 3-0 Buckeyes.
ESPN's College Football is presented by Cars.com, where confidence comes standard. And in part by Kingsford Charcoal and the Home Depot. Get your tailgate started right with Kingsford Charcoal from the Home Depot.
He definitely was legendary, Woody Hayes. There's a chalkboard that Woody had a lot of random thoughts written down. He was going to write a book. There's a whole bunch of different things on there. And the last time Miami came into this facility, it was Lou Saban bringing in his Hurricanes against Woody Hayes. You speak about legendary coaches and then a guy named Saban. How about Joe Paterno against Nick Saban? That follows us tonight from Tuscaloosa, presented by Hampton Hotels, and that'll be a dandy as well. Freshman quarterback going on the road into Bryant-Denny. That'll be fun, huh?
Good news, 9 new starters on defense. Bad news, the ones that come after him are just as good.
Here's a short kick taken at about the 12-yard line. And a big opening. Lamar Miller. He's gone.
He's got great speed.
Forget about it. He'll take it about 88 yards for a touchdown, Miami. Shocker.
This is the one area that Miami felt coming into the game they had an advantage, not just with their kicker and punter and Matt Bosher, but with their return guys. Jim Tressel was concerned about the speed of their return guys when we met with him yesterday. And right away, this short kick, and Lamar Miller makes them pay.
Lamar Miller, 88 yards. He was their leading ground gainer in their opening win last week. He had 1 kickoff return in that game for 34 yards. This one much bigger. 88 yards for the touchdown. Bosher, the extra points. And just like that, in about 12 seconds, the game turns around.
And remember the penalties against Ohio State that took the touchdown away. They had to settle for the field goal, and now Miami right back on top. Now, the kick was fielded on the 12-yard line. There's nobody even in position to make a tackle till the 35, and that tackle was missed right there. And after that, Lamar Miller is off and running. Andrew Sweat missed the tackle. Watch 42, miss. He fakes the kicker out, and then it's history at that point. When I was down there about 2 weeks ago, Brad, I saw something I'm not used to seeing, and that is in a scrimmage, Miami did live kicking, live kickoff returns, live punt returns. I've never seen a team tackle full speed on kick plays, and I asked him about it, and he said, hey, we've always done it. It's early enough, and we just think that this can be something we could be really good at this year, but we've got to practice it right.
Part of those many times during the week 6:20 a.m. practices for the Hurricanes.
Right. I wasn't there for 6:20.
I didn't think you went to one of the 6:20 ones. So that kind of shocked 105,000 plus. And now Bosher will kick it. Barry and Hall again back deep. This kick shorter too at the 7-yard line is Barry. And they go end around. A fake the end around, and now they might have another touchdown coming the other way.
Oh, man.
Wow. Well,
anything you can do.
I can do better, almost.
Almost.
42 yards on the return.
Well, he is one-on-one with the kicker, Bosher, and he had him falling on the turf, and the turf monster got him. Watch this. Plant the foot, the kicker falls down, and shortly after that, so does Barry.
At the 49-yard line, though. Great field position and a great way to come back from giving up an 88-yard touchdown on a kick return. Aaron now behind Terrell Pryor on a 1st and 10 as we're approaching 5.5 minutes remaining first quarter. Pryor on 1st down. The throw a little bit wide, incomplete. Nice coverage by Brandon Harris on the corner as we check in for the first time with Reese Davis. Reese?
Brad, Taco Bell studio update. We are 15 seconds away from a stunner in Blacksburg. Here's Virginia Tech's Darren Evans getting stuck by Stephon Robertson from James Madison. Turnover, and right now James Madison about to punt the ball away, and Virginia Tech will have 15 seconds to avoid disaster and a hit to the Boise State reception. Michigan and Notre Dame, meanwhile, tied at 7.
I don't think Frank Beamer was planning on being 0-2 at this stage of the season. Pick up a 4 for Heron.
You saw that Virginia Tech. I think that's one of the reasons why Randy Shannon was so serious about the first quarter. Last year they got off to the great start. They beat Florida State. They manhandled Georgia Tech. They went up to Blacksburg and they got throttled and they got behind right away, 14-0 in the first quarter. They ended up losing 31-7. That's why he's so intent on them getting off to a good start here in this game on the road.
Big 3rd down for the Buckeyes after they had the excellent kick return. They're in Miami territory at the 47-yard line. Here comes the blitz. Pryor flushed from the pocket, wants to throw, double clutches, finally does throw, and it is almost caught, almost intercepted, incomplete.
And the good thing that Miami did on that play is they blitzed Sean Spence, and he was free to the quarterback. He doesn't get the sack, but when they forced Terrell Pryor to run to the right, watch the blitz force Pryor out of the pocket to his right. Now he's out of real estate. All he can do is run to the sideline and try to throw it back. So they hemmed him into a spot, and then were able to come up with the play.
So Ohio State's got to punt it away. Again, Travis Benjamin waits as we look behind Ben Buchanan.
Pryor is 2 for 7 now. After the quick start, he's missed his last 5.
High kick. This one will have to be fair caught as well. And about the 6-yard line. Miami with the lead and the football. And their quarterback coming back out with 4:34 remaining here at the Horseshoe. Jeremy Shockey, he's got the day off. His Saints winners over the Vikings on Thursday. There's a lot of former Canes and former Buckeyes in attendance for this one today. Edgerrin James among them as well.
Edgerrin James wants to see Miami get a little bit of running game going.
They could use him, couldn't they, right now?
Only 5 yards on 3 carries. Got to get a little more balanced against this Ohio State defense.
They've done very little on the ground for Damian Barry. He's the setback and gets, this time, a little bit.
Now, part of it is horrible field position. They've started on their own 11, and this drive starts on their own 6. But why it's so imperative for Miami is that Mark Whipple loves to call play action passing on first down to get deep chunks of yardage, but they've got to have some balance to set that play action up.
Play action does you no good if nobody's biting on the run fake. Mark in his second year as offensive coordinator after several years with the Philadelphia Eagles. At the 10 now. There is the play action. Harris fires, and it's caught, and oh, what a hit, but what a catch by Leonard Hankerson. 24-yard strike. Hankerson still down as he took it right in the chest from C.J. Barnett from the secondary.
Boy, great job of hanging on to the football. 6 catches, 115 yards, and 2 scores in the opener last week. And watch the concentration. The little stutter step move on the post. He knows he's going to get hit, and he hangs on to the football.
Barnett, well, he had his shoulder in there with it.
Yeah.
It was a clean hit, and as you said, Leonard knew he was going to take it right in the sternum, and he did, and he's still down. Boy, they could ill afford to lose him. He is a big-time player, kind of in the mold of some of the greats like the Michael Irvins that have played before him at the U. And he's up and hopefully okay. Take a look at our Saturday menu brought to you by Applebee's. If you're an OU Florida State fan, they're on ABC right now. Tennessee and Oregon tonight in Tennessee and Knoxville on ESPN2. The big one in Tuscaloosa. And then later tonight, Pac-10 battle Stanford and UCLA. Right here, Brad Nessler, Todd Blackledge, Holly Rowe, as we match up number 12 and number 2 in the country. And right now, it's number 12 with a 7-3 lead. Ohio State will blitz off the corner, and it's going to pay off. Damian Berry had nowhere to run. Tyler Moeller came flying in there, and he made it easy for Dexter Larimore to make the stop. What a story this kid is, huh?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Tyler Moeller, who didn't play a year ago. There was an incident involved when he was on a family vacation as Miami snaps the ball in a hurry. And he suffered as the ball comes out. Play, I think, was dead. Tyler Moeller, though, suffered a head injury in that assault and actually had to have surgery to take the pressure off his brain, and worked, rehabbed, wanted to keep playing football. Total clearance he's got to go out there, and he was the player of the week in the Big Ten last week, so he is raring to go. Fumble, flags down. A total mess on that play. I'm not sure what the flag's about, but the exchange from center to Ja'Cory Harris never worked.
Before the snap, false start, offense, number 66, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Gunn, the left guard, with a false start.
Well, that's a good break for Miami, because the fumbled snap, the miscommunication, they were
going to lose about 4 anyway.
They were going to lose it and have to punt. At least now they get to run a play.
Third down and 8. Hankerson's back in there, which is good news as they split from a bunch formation and they overload on the right side. Ja'Cory Harris rolls that way, throws on the run, tipped, and then caught by Hankerson, but I think he's out of bounds.
That's the question. I mean, he made the catch, but I don't know that his feet were in, and they're calling him out of bounds. Nice job coming back to the football, but on the deflection, too close to the sideline.
Chimdy was the guy that got a hand on it right there, and then Hankerson hung in there and just out of bounds. Did all he could to get that left foot in. Here's another angle, and there you see he tiptoes and makes the black mark come up from the turf. So Bosher will punt. Wow, what a kick. All the way to the 5. And how's the coverage? Pretty good. Although they did get about 5 on the return. Hall did. A 58-yard punt. Whew, what a weapon to have. He's a Groza Award finalist a year ago. He was all ACC as a kicker, and he was second-team ACC as a punter. And that's just one spot on the roster for number 25, Matt Bosher. So now Ohio State has to start in a little bit of a hole at their own 12-yard line. Final couple of minutes of the first quarter. 7-3 Miami on the road, courtesy of an 88-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. Sane hit the backfield by McCarthy, and he's dropped for a loss.
Right now, the Miami defense is getting more aggressive with this Ohio State offense in two ways. They're crowding the line of scrimmage. They're blitzing linebackers a little bit more. And on the outside, they're running more press coverage. It doesn't always mean man, but they're crowding this Ohio State offense a little bit. Anticipating run, that you call blitz sometimes as a run blitz. You anticipate a run, shoot a linebacker, anticipating a running play, and do exactly that, tackle behind the line.
You saw Randy Shannon, a defensive coach, a great defensive player as a Hurricane, and then longtime defensive coordinator before taking over as head coach 4 years ago. Pryor inside his own 5. Let's fly, complete, but it's going to be just a short gain. Sanzenbacher tackled by Telemac.
Even that play, it's a completion, but there's that feeling. The feeling is that Miami's defense is squeezing Ohio State. The cornerbacks are up on the receivers. They're squeezing for short gains right now.
And was it, as it always was back in the heyday of Miami and the Hurricane defense, don't give them a little bit of swagger, because then they'll really get good. Third down and long.
Here it is, press coverage again.
Terrell's going to roll and just keep it. Oh, he's close. Sean Spence made the tackle. Spot's going to be important here. And it looks to be about a yard shy, but I said that earlier in the ball game and I was wrong.
Well, this was a designed quarterback run, a little option. Sean Spence is right here. He's going to be the spy, but he's on the opposite side of the play, so it takes him a little longer to get to him, but they still get there in time to stop Pryor short of the first down.
So 4th down and Ben Buchanan to punt again. Don't leave one short here against Travis Benjamin. Well, it's going to be way short. Short enough that it's going to roll dead at about the 47-yard line. It's a great field position for Miami. They lead 7-3. 1 play left before the end of the quarter. Let's check in with Reese.
Brad, want to finish up the James Madison Virginia Tech game. James Madison being forced to punt up 13 seconds to go. They went for a little beamer ball and they roughed the punter. First down for James Madison, and in James Madison's best work since the Federalist Papers, they beat Virginia Tech by 5.
Wow. So our first big upset of the college football season.
Well, right now, this is the best position for Miami. They just gained 36 yards on an exchange of punts. Now is when you might see a play action and a shot at something deep down the field for the Hurricane.
James, the tailback in the eye. He'll get the call. Spins his way on the final play of the quarter right out to midfield and maybe shading into Ohio State territory. Randy Shannon talked about the importance of the first quarter. Hey, his team on the road the first 15 minutes, courtesy of a kickoff return for a score. They've got the lead at the end of one.
You're watching ESPN, new home of the Bowl Championship Series.
Set to start the second quarter. Evan Turner, Big Ten Player of the Year in basketball. First round pick of the 76ers here watching his football teammates. Thad Matta, his former coach, standing next to Orlando Pace. Second quarter set to begin. Miami on the road leading 7-3. Brad Nessler, Todd Blackledge, and Holly Rowe from the Horseshoe in Columbus. Second down and 6. James, it's been tough sledding for any of the tailbacks for Miami today. Let's check in with Holly.
Guys, early on in that first quarter, Miami was having some problems on the left side of their line. On one possession, Harlan Gunn was flat on his back thanks to Cameron Hayward. Next possession, Orlando Franklin had his helmet popped off and got into it again with Cameron Hayward. So, guys, every once in a while you see them bring over their big tight end, number 84, Robert Gordon, to give him a little bit of help because Hayward is eating right now. The big dog is eating.
Yeah, he is. He's a big one, too. 6'5", 288 pounds. Third and 4. Ja'Cory Harris from the gun.
Here he comes again.
throws, and what a throw. Perfect and complete for the first down to Johnson. Boy, he had to lead him perfectly, and he did.
Well, there's a flag down. I don't think it was the call that I thought there was going to be. Cameron Hayward was held on the play. Harlan Gunn, the left guard, basically dragged him down, and that enabled, watch this, there's the takedown right there by Gunn, and that enabled Ja'Cory Harris to get the throw off for the first down, but that was not called.
If there was a flag, they picked it up because we got no call. At the 38, Canes with a first down. It was a terrible play fake because the running back went the wrong way and the pass wasn't any prettier. Now, if you're going to go play action, you'd like your back to go at least where the football is.
Exactly. But the good news for Miami, they're not running for a bunch of yards, and Holly reported that they're having a little trouble with Hayward, but they're holding their own. All in all, I mean, they're playing tough enough on the offense and defensive lines to be right in this football game. And again, to come into Columbus to play Ohio State, you have to be physical. You want to have the speed on the outside, but you better be able to hold your own inside. And so far, Miami's doing that.
Second down at 10. Patrick Hill, the fullback. Mike James, the tailback, gets the call. Straight up the middle he goes. Ross Holman, one of the captains on the defense, made the stop, but James got 5 for number 5 on that one. Miami hurries to the line. A third down and 5. Harris sets, fires deep for Benjamin. Incomplete at the goal line.
It was incomplete because it was underthrown by Ja'Cory Harris. He had great protection. He thinks there should have been a penalty, but he underthrew Benjamin. If this ball is deep enough, it's an easy touchdown because Benjamin easily ran by his man. Watch this. He's beat, but he has to wait for the ball. Now, there was contact coming back by Chekwa, but it was an underthrown pass.
I think Nate Williams might have had something to do with the ball being underthrown because he leveled Harris as he got rid of it. Gosher in now to try a field goal. This will be a 51-yard attempt, but he's done it before. 52 is his career low. Kick on line and good. That's why you're a Groza finalist, and he just put his team 3 points further in front. And Randy Shannon says that's the way to do it, guys. We didn't get a touchdown, but we'll take a 51-yard field goal any day of the week. 13:05 remaining first half. 12th ranked Hurricanes with 3 more against the number 2 Buckeyes. Back of the Ohio State defense. Our college football presented by Cars.com. 10-3. They didn't give up a touchdown, but they did yield a 51-yard field goal. Just a 7-play, 18-yard drive to get that kick.
I think for Ohio State's offense, this possession, they've got to do something to try to stretch out this Miami defense vertically. They've got to attack downfield a little bit and make them respect the speed on the outside.
Bosch here to kick off. And Randall Hall is back deep. And he'll track this one down at about the 2-yard line. Trying to come to the near side, and he's just going to barely make it to the 20. Kylan Robinson made the stop on the special teams. Let's take a look at our Bud Light playbook. Todd?
Well, what Miami has decided to do is take Sean Spence, their junior linebacker, and spy him on Terrell Pryor on certain third down plays. Does a nice job of corralling him there. This time he's opposite where the play's going, but he still is in position to be involved in the tackle and stop Terrell Pryor short of the first down. It's not a job that only one guy can do. He needs help from the other guys, but that's what Sean Spence has been concentrating on, particularly in third down plays.
4 tackles already for Sean for that Miami defense. So the Buckeyes work from their own 20-yard line. Play fake. Pryor loads and fires deep. Man out there has got it. Posey all the way to the 20. 62 yards.
See, you just had this feeling that Miami was getting too confident in their ability to squeeze Ohio State. And so it's a great call by Jim Bowman on first down to let Posey try to make a play down the field. And again, Terrell Pryor is better throwing intermediate and deep routes than he is short routes. Good protection, good strong arm, and Ohio State makes the Miami defense think a little bit.
DeVere Posey not thrown out till he got to the 18-yard line. That's where they set up in the red zone, 1st and 10. Trying to even up the ball game. Pryor on first down, throws to the end zone, touchdown. Brandon Sane, and we're a point away from a tie. That didn't take long, did it?
That'll get it going quickly. Well, they did a nice job of getting Sane in a good position by formation to get a matchup on a linebacker, and then Pryor with the excellent throw. What a great response by the Buckeyes offensive staff to say, hey, look, Miami is squeezing us. We've got better athletes. We've got more explosiveness. They're saying in the slot. He's going against Spence, and right now he's beat. Spence had his back turned, had no idea where the football was, and Sane shows his ability as a receiver. The formation got the matchup they wanted, and then Sane made the nice catch.
A two-play, 80-yard drive took 36 seconds. Play is under official review. That's just a great play in the corner on some pretty decent coverage. The throw was perfect. So we're waiting to make sure that it's 10-9 with the extra point pending. Our replay official is Steve Beckman. He's talking things over right now with Brad Allen, the referee. Apparently they're seeing whether or not he had possession when he crossed the goal line. I don't think there was any doubt, but here's another look from another angle. His hands did come down with both hands wrapped around it. I always think with one like this, you got to land somewhere.
Yeah. Well, and again, to overrule it, the call on the field was a touchdown. It's got to be indisputable evidence. I'm not sure we've seen anything that
After
would...
further review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
So they thought the same thing we did. And Terrell Pryor with his 4th touchdown pass of the season after having 3 a week ago. So now Barclay is in for the point after. Tied at 10. We had some explosive plays. A two-play 80-yard drive capped by the touchdown throw. And now we're even. 10-10 in Columbus.
ESPN's College Football, brought to you by Chevrolet. Every model is backed by a 100,000-mile, 5-year powertrain limited warranty. And Bank of America.
The flag flying at half-staff on this, the 9th anniversary of 9/11. College football presented by Cars.com. 10-10, 12-23. The wind has picked up a little bit, and the ponchos are out, Mr. Blackledge. The forecasters said maybe by 3rd quarter we'd get a little bit of rain. They only missed by about an hour. Yeah, sometimes it's just fun to wear a poncho, because then when you spill one of those drinks, it doesn't get on your shirt. Devin Barclay has got it teed up. Lamar Miller and Eduardo Clements back deep for Miami. A short kick. Let's see if a fair catch is called for here by Miami. They do. And about the 25-yard line. Patrick Hill, the fullback, with a fair catch call. Let's check in with Reese Davis. Reese.
Brad, Travis Lewis, the Oklahoma linebacker, promised a different Sooner team. Well, I tell you, the offense looks different. Landry Jones has been razor sharp. That touchdown pass against Florida State to Ryan Broyles, made it 14-7 Sooners, and Oklahoma quickly answered with another one. Jones to Cameron Kenny. He goes in 21-7. Jones 13 of 16 for a $173 and 2 touches so far.
Hard to go into the Sooner Stadium and beat them in that facility. They got a long winning streak there. Here we're even at 10. First down. And a nice opening for Barry this time, and he might have 10 yards. Devon Torrance made the stop.
Yeah, that was a timely call by Mark Whipple. They ran off to the left. There was a blitz coming from the opposite side, outside. If they'd have run that way, it would have been a loss of yardage play. As it turned out, a nice first down run for the Hurricanes.
You talked about the importance of Ohio State's last drive. They didn't have to drive far.
Yeah.
They went a long ways, but they didn't take long to do it, I should say. This will be interesting now to see if the Canes can answer. Barry outside this time. And nice job by Ross Holman. A second-team All-Big Ten performer a year ago, leading tackler for the Buckeyes last year with over 100. And he knocks him out of bounds after a gain of 1.
Yeah, he and Brian Roll, the other linebacker, a pair of seniors, are really the heart and soul leaders of this defense. Both make a lot of they're excellent tacklers. They're instinctive players. They're excellent tacklers, whether it's run or pass, and really spearhead this Buckeye defense.
And their quickness to the ball carrier sets them apart as well. Second down and 8. Ja'Cory Harris, down he goes. John Simon came smoking up the middle from his defensive tackle position. Loss of 10.
Yeah, they're really high on Simon. 6'2", 270-pound sophomore. Here he is. He's just going to run right through the center. Check that. Number 54 runs right past Tyler Horn, the center, got in the gap between the guard and center, and just bull rushed his way to Ja'Cory Harris. And when that pressure comes right up the middle like that, there's nowhere to go as a quarterback.
This is not what you want to be in on the road. Third down and 18. They're going to play it conservatively and worry about getting a punt away to try to change the field, because there aren't a lot of plays in the playbook for 3rd and 18. And one of those linebackers we just talked about, Brian Roll, made the tackle. So Bosher will come out to kick, and it is getting dark over Columbus, Ohio right now. First punt was a beauty, and it chased Jermail Hall way back inside his own 15-yard line. See if Bosher can do it again coming the other way. This one's returnable, and Hale takes it and got away from the first man and another and out to the 40. That's a nifty return for getting hit that hard as soon as you got your hands on the football. Only a 39-yard kick and 9 yards on the return for Hale. Take a look at our Dodge drive recap.
Well, it was short, but it covered a lot of ground. It started with a first down pass from Terrell Pryor to DeVere Posey. Got him down inside the red zone, and the very next play, Pryor again to the air to Brandon Sane for the touchdown. Just after they had gone 2 possessions in a row of 3 and out, they came out and opened up the playbook and got the score.
So if you're driving your Dodge out there, they went a long ways, but they mashed the gas pretty hard because it didn't take long.
0 to 60 quick.
You got it. Pryor. This time he throws short, and that could have been picked off by Sean Spence for a touchdown. He just couldn't keep his hands on it. And again, kind of a short throw, and Terrell Pryor sort of aimed that one, which is Todd has been talking about over the course of this first quarter.
Yeah, he really stared that one down, too. That's what Sean Spence was reading, the eyes of Terrell Pryor. And the good thing for Pryor is the ball was thrown too low for either his guy or Spence to catch it.
So second down at 10. On the ground, Sane, nice run. Kind of backpedaled the last 3 yards of it, but picked up 7. And now it makes third down a little more manageable as they're approaching midfield here, and we're just under 10 minutes remaining in the quarter.
This is where I think Ohio State is most difficult to defend. When they get you in third down in short situations like this, with a quarterback who can run like Terrell Pryor, whether it's called or whether it's just on a scramble, very, very difficult to stop.
And the option, he'll keep it all the way. That's what's difficult to stop. That's what Ledge is talking about. Easy first down on a pickup of 10. He's so fluid, and he fools you with how fast he is because it looks like he's not even trying out there sometimes.
And you and I both commented, we saw him in the facility yesterday just in a sweatsuit. He's so big. I mean, he's so much bigger than when he first came here 2 years ago. The weight room work, and he's really filled out. He's listed at 233. He's probably closer to 240, 245. Very big kid.
Back to throw on first down. Runs to his left and throws on the run, and one hopper incomplete. Brandon Harris was covering back there on Sanzenbacher. It was funny when we were talking to Terrell at the facility yesterday. I walked in, shook hands with him, and he said, "Brad, did you see number 2 yesterday?" And I was thinking, well, yeah, I saw you at practice all day. He was talking about Cam Newton because he had watched the Auburn game on Thursday night on ESPN, and he says, he's a big dude. I said, he's a little bit bigger than you, but there's not a lot of difference. Both are. Well, Cameron Newton, we'll see him next week. He's 6'6" and about 250, and as you said, Terrell is all of 240 probably on that same size frame. Stiff arm. Bought him some time. The second one didn't. Bailey hangs out there, stays with him, and drops him for a loss of about 5. He also said about Cam Newton, how fast is he? I said, not nearly as fast as you.
Pretty fast, though.
Pretty fast, though. Amazing what we see now from quarterbacks that are in that Jamarcus Russell mode, only you don't want to ever get that big. Ja'Cory Harris says, I'm not a runner passer, but he and Terrell Pryor are friends. They text a lot back and forth. They talked about this game and hoping that they could make some history. So far, they've both been fairly efficient.
Ohio State.
But it's been the special teams that have been special so far. 8:20 remaining in the first half with a timeout. 10-10 Miami at Ohio State. That pretty much tells the story right now at the horseshoe, a soggy horseshoe as the rain coming down heavily now. May have a big effect on this game, but as Jim Tressel told us, rain's not as bad as 40-mile-an-hour winds. Here's his quarterback lofting one to the corner, and it is caught. Sanzenbacher went up and got it. Looked like a ball that almost could have been intercepted, but it hung there just long enough.
Yeah, DeMarcus Van Dyke, I think, mistimed his jump. He thought he was going to make the play on the football and jumped for it and missed. And when he missed, Sanzenbacher was right there to cradle it for the catch. And a big conversion on 3rd and long.
And Sanzenbacher backpedals his rear end down to the first down, a 19-yard pickup on 3rd and 14. Pryor back to throw again. Terrell going over the middle, and this one is almost intercepted again. He threw that right to Ray Armstrong. But Ray couldn't make the catch like he did a week ago when he had an interception return for a score. His first career interception. And he is mad at himself that he didn't get number 2 right there.
Yeah, you got to make that play if the quarterback throws you one like that. That was a case where Pryor got radar lock on Posey. And he was going to that route no matter what. And there were way too many white shirts in there to make that throw, but he got away with the mistake.
So he's got a second chance and a 2nd and 10. Sane and Herron both with him in the backfield, and he'll keep it off the fake to Herron and goes left side for about 3. It'll bring up 3rd down.
You know, you brought up the point about if it rains, and particularly if it starts to rain harder, does it favor one team or another? And Jim Tressel's right. I mean, as a quarterback, wind is the worst element to play in. They keep the balls relatively dry. The fields are in good shape. But I would venture to guess that Miami practices in the rain more consistently, especially early in the year, than Ohio State does.
Right.
So just playing in the rain, handling wet footballs might be an advantage to Miami if the weather goes south on us here.
On this drive, Pryor on a 3rd and 3 picked up 10 on the ground, and on a 3rd and 14 hit a 19-yard completion. Here he just barely gets rid of the ball. It's incomplete. Closest guy was Stoneburner as tight end. So the drive stalls. 4th down. And out comes the kicking unit.
Again, Olivier Vernon got the pressure. He didn't get the sack, but he got enough in the face of Terrell Pryor right up the gut to make him throw the ball quicker than he wanted to and inaccurately.
It's going to be about a 41-yard field goal attempt by Devin Barclay. Barclay, 27-year-old former professional soccer player. He lines it up. And from the left hash, let's see if he can give Ohio State the lead. Kick on the way, and it is perfect. In fact, it hit the flagpole. That's how perfect it was. So the Buckeyes at home have the advantage by a field goal over their visiting Hurricanes of Miami. 7:03 remaining here in the first half. Now the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is at Richmond, and it's on ABC tonight. Final race before the chase. Coverage starts 7:30 Eastern Time. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. I was thinking about wearing that same thing today.
You look good on you.
I would. I look good in green. So Ohio State, 36-yard drive in 10 plays. A little over 3 minutes to get the field goal. And now they've got the lead, and Barclay, who hit that field goal, will kick off.
Last time they intentionally kicked short to keep it away from Lamar Miller. Let's see how they choose to kick this time.
Number 6 is Lamar Miller, who already took one 88 yards today for a touchdown. Another short kick. This one to the near side. That ball is free. One hop at the 20-yard line. Nice job by Clemens. That ball wouldn't have come down. We would have had the longest onside kick in the history of the stadium. Let's check in with Reese Davis.
Brad, Oklahoma's offense is gutting Mark Stoops' defense. Big brother beating up on little brother. Landry Jones is 16 of 19, 242 yards, 3 touchdowns. That one to James Hanna. Sooners have scored a touchdown every time they've had it. 3 of the TD drives, 80 yards. Michigan's on top of Notre Dame. By the way, Dane Christ has been knocked out of this game. 14-7, Wolverines with the lead.
That'd be a huge win in the second week for Rich Rodriguez. And in Oklahoma, they're saying, Sam who?
Yeah. That's one of those deals. Bob Stoops, I've taught him everything I know, but not quite everything.
And not everything that I know. Everything he knows.
Right. That's right.
Harris, quick drop, and a throw intercepted by Chekwa. He threw it right to Chimdi Chekwa. Second interception suffered by Ja'Cory Harris.
This is really messed up because the Miami receiver thought this was a running play. He was sizing up Chekwa to block him, and all of a sudden the ball is thrown, and the only one who saw it was Chekwa. Watch Benjamin. He's going to block. He never looks for the ball. Chekwa's looking right in through the receiver to the quarterback, and Ja'Cory Harris is picked off for the second time today, deep in his own territory.
That is just disaster if you're a Hurricane fan. 2 turnovers, both in their own territory. Ja'Cory's mom and dad looking on, and not some happy faces right there. And their son didn't have a happy face either, heading to the sideline. At the 19, Ohio State might try to take advantage of this in one play. Crossing pattern, Sanzenbacher. He's all the way to the 4. It's 1st and goal. Last time they scored a touchdown, it was a 2-play drive. That same thing might happen here unless Miami's defense can say something about it.
It's a nice job by Terrell Pryor getting that ball out in front of Sanzenbacher, allowing him to catch it full speed and take it to the opposite sideline. That crossing route has not been one of his favorite throws or easiest throws to make. That was a perfect throw.
Pryor will work in the shotgun on a 1st and goal here, just inside the 5. Great threat to run, of course. Miami knows that. Here he comes. Option pitch. Got it to his tailback. Touchdown, Heron. So indeed it was a 2-play touchdown drive like their last one. And a disastrous interception has given Ohio State more of a lead and extra momentum with 6:17 remaining in the second quarter. play for the point after to give the Buckeyes a 10-point advantage. And does. Well, the scoring drives for Ohio State today, touchdown-wise, are 36 seconds and 33 seconds.
Ohio State is one of the most opportunistic teams in college football. You throw an interception, almost always they will make you pay. They get it in scoring territory. Here comes the option. Colin McCarthy, their most experienced defender, misses a tackle, and just like that, Ohio State ups their lead to 10 points. Ja'Cory Harris, as talented as he is, when they lost games last year, they were 9-4. That's when he struggled throwing the football. That's when he made most of his mistakes. 4 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. 3 of those interceptions were returned for touchdowns in losses for the Hurricanes. So he's got to regroup right now.
And Ohio State a year ago, 24 interceptions. They made a lot of those turn into points. They've done that today, and they've scored 17 unanswered points in the last 6 minutes. High short kick again. This one's going to be fielded by Clemens at the 25, and he slips and goes down as he had a little bit of an opening, but he got it out to the 38-yard line. This is where the Hurricanes really have got to settle in, or they could lose all chances of winning this game right here.
Well, certainly 10 points is not an insurmountable lead for an offense that has the kind of explosive players that they have. But the bottom line is they can't turn the ball over anymore. They've got to take care of the football. Their defense has played pretty well against Terrell Pryor and the Ohio State offense, but they've got to take care of the football. And that really falls on Ja'Cory Harris.
Let's see if the junior is rattled or if he can regain his composure and his offense composure from the 38-yard line. Play action. Going to throw the deep out. Good throw out to Benjamin. And that'll settle him in a little bit.
That's good for Ja'Cory, and it's good for Benjamin. He was the guy who didn't look around for the football, so go right back to him and let him make a play for your offense. I love that.
He had his head around on that one, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
His first catch, and he got 19 yards and got it into Ohio State territory. Plenty of time to work with here at 6 minutes in the quarter, and Miami's got its full complement of timeouts. High backfield, they'll play fake it to Berry. And Harris going outside again. Same guy, same results, and a pickup of almost 13.
I've been impressed with the Miami offensive line and the protection they've given Ja'Cory Harris. Even though he's thrown the interception, it hasn't been because of duress.
Right here they go with a hurry up again on first down. Berry cuts it outside. Nice pursuit by Ohio State, only about a yard gain. Chekwa makes the tackle as we check in with Holly.
Well, guys, Ja'Cory Harris is normally a high-energy guy over here on the sideline, but after that last interception, he was very subdued, staring straight ahead, very quiet, not talking to a lot of guys. So it was his big guys up front that came, got in his face. Big number 72, his offensive line, patting him on the back, showing him some energy, and you can see they're energized on this drive, and that seems to be helping their quarterback.
72, Brandon Washington, the big 330-pound right guard. Second down and 8. Harris, play fake, deep ball in the corner, had a man open, and he overshot it. It was Hankerson, and Hankerson had a step on Chekwa, but the pass was too deep.
That was man coverage for Ohio State. They came with a linebacker blitz. It was pretty well picked up. Single coverage, and Hankerson has him beat from the get-go. And just a slight overthrow by Ja'Cory Harris. Had him where he wanted him, just too much on the ball.
Big third down for Miami. They don't want to make a mistake. They've got a guy that can kick a field goal even if they don't pick up a big chunk of yardage here, so don't do anything crazy. Harris pressured over the middle. Oh, in and out of the hands of Berry. Forgot to take the ball along. Was thrown just a shade behind him, but he had plenty of grass in front of him.
Well, John Simon was in there so quickly that he had to get rid of the football. Simon just came on a speed rush and ran right around the right tackle, Joel Figueroa. Simon normally is inside. This time he was outside, and he just beat Figueroa right to the quarterback.
Right into the knees of the quarterback, almost. As I said, they've got the kicker that maybe can get him 3. He already hit from 51. This will be a 46-yard attempt by Matt Bosher. Kick on the way, and he pushed it to the right. Didn't get it. Well, maybe they didn't have a kicker that could get him the 3. Gives it back to Ohio State, and the lead doesn't change. Still up 10.
You know, you just never know when opportunities to make big plays are going to happen in a game like this, and you got to go back to the second down pass in that drive. Miami had momentum. They were in scoring territory. They had man coverage, and Hankerson was open for a touchdown, and Ja'Cory Harris wasn't able to make the connection.
So Terrell Pryor and the Buckeyes have got it back, and they'll go to the ground. They're going to lose yardage on this one as Fortson wraps up Brandon Sane for a loss. Fortson, sophomore out of Miami, 300-pounder as well. They got a lot of depth on that Miami defensive front, kind of like they had back in the day. Warren Saps, Russell Marylands, and guys like that, and they're too deep pretty much over there right now. That's been a building process for Randy Shannon in now his 4th year as head coach.
I thought it was really interesting that Jim Tressel said he thought that Miami had better depth than his team had. That would surprise people to hear somebody say that.
After the loss, second down at 13. Pryor sets, fires deep near sideline, and this one is intercepted. Nope, dropped.
What a great job by Posey, because that should have been intercepted. Van Dyke was step for step, had a beat on the ball, and Posey went from wide receiver to defensive back in an instant and ripped the ball out. I mean, this is an interception. And Posey just stays with it and rips the ball out.
He had it in his left arm momentarily. Wide receiver turns DB. Good job by DeVere Posey. Neither quarterback's completion percentage very good here in the first half. Pryor, quarterback draw all the way here. And got out to about the 32-yard line. Bailey and Vernon combined on the stop there. So still 3:40 remaining in the first half, and Miami's going to get it back again.
That was a really nice stop by John Lovett's defense, because, you know, those sudden change situations, very deflating move when they miss the field goal. Defense comes right back on the field, and they get a 3 and out.
Travis Benjamin still waiting to get his hands on one as a punt returner, and he hasn't had the fair catch. He's going to have to backpedal a mile. This one is a mile in the air and a mile deep. Here comes Benjamin the other way. Travis Benjamin, the punter to beater, he's gone. Benjamin down the sideline, forget about it. Touchdown, Miami. Second score on a return for the Canes today. First a kickoff return, and now Benjamin takes it 79 yards for a touchdown.
That was amazing, because when that first happened, when he first caught the ball, I thought he was going to get level. But the first Ohio State defender down there actually ran past Benjamin, behind him, and that enabled Benjamin to catch it on the fly and take off. I really thought he was going to get just destroyed when he caught the football.
We've been talking about how dangerous he is when he's got room. He made some room for himself, and then he weaved his way and turned down the burners, and the complexion of the game has changed again. Extra point good, and the Ohio State lead cut to 3. Ohio State has allowed 3 touchdowns in the first 2 weeks of the season. All were on special teams. They had a blocked field goal that Marshall scored on last week for their only touchdown. And here, kickoff return and punt return. Jim Tressel talked with Holly and Todd and I about it. We talked about it earlier. He was afraid something like this might happen.
Well, look at 34, just ran right by the play. I mean, he ran himself out of the play. And Travis Benjamin, I mean, once he caught that ball, he was off. Carlos Hyde, number 34, is the first guy down there, and they run right by him.
Speed kills. Big plays on both sides today. Scoring drives that take anywhere from 10 and 12 seconds to 36 seconds.
Well, Randy Shannon was so concerned about his team playing head-to-head, nose-to-nose early in this game, and I think he's got to be happy with where his team is right now. They have not backed down. They're not intimidated by Ohio State, and they're right in this ball game down 3.
High short kick coming this time to Ohio State's. Breaking tackles is Hall, and he's still on his feet. Hall might go. This would be unbelievable. Bosher made the tackle to save a touchdown. I don't know how he got out of that pack, but Bosher, the kicker, just saved another score.
Well, that's the second time we've seen that today. A kickoff return or a punt return for a touchdown. They kick it off, and Ohio State comes right back with a big return of their own. This is just bad tackling. I mean, he never went down. Knee never touched. Nobody wrapped up for the Miami special teams. They hit him, but they never wrapped him up. And Bosher, thankfully, as the kicker, makes the touchdown-saving tackle.
And Bosher's not a kicker that's afraid to stick his nose in there. Luckily for the Hurricanes, he made the stop, but not until Hall got to the 28-yard line. Boone Heron flanking Terrell Pryor in the shotgun. 1st and 10, 3-point game. Pryor wants to change that. And he got away from what looked like a sure sack. And now he goes head up in the secondary as he got to the 25-yard line to meet Van Dyke. And Pryor's smiling, and Van Dyke is wolfing a little bit.
Well, the biggest reason Pryor's smiling is because
We have an official's timeout for an injured player.
he's smiling because a big guy took a shot at him and paid for it. Marcus Robinson's a defensive end, hit Pryor, and Pryor just shedded that tackle and able to run it outside.
And in the meantime, in that collision in the backfield that Pryor got away from, it was Curtis Porter, who you saw maybe on that replay grabbing his knee in that collision back there. And he's still down. Sophomore out of Charlotte. Well, you talk about adding injury to insult. You crash in there with one of your teammates, and you can't bring the quarterback down, and in the meantime, you get hurt. .233 remaining in the half, and a hush over the crowd at Ohio Stadium here. As first time today for any length of time we've had a player down. You're going to see this now when the collision comes. Left side of your screen.
Marcus Robinson comes in. I think he just leg whipped his own guy.
Yeah, friendly fire, I think. You see him grab his knee. And then Pryor takes it down on the other end and puts his head down, collides with the defensive backs. Again, there it is from a different angle. Trying to help the big fella up. Takes about 3 trainers. He weighs 315. And we are certainly hoping that he's going to be okay, but his day appears to be done. Big sophomore gets a round of applause from the Ohio State fans here. So Ohio State with 2:33 remaining in the half. They've got 2 timeouts left, and the line of scrimmage is going to be about the 24-yard line. Pretty good turnout of Miami fans, but there's probably about 106,000 in here, mostly wearing scarlet ponchos right now. So second down. Play resumes. 6 yards to go for the Buckeyes. Pryor throws over the middle, complete. His tight end's got a first down. Stoneburner hung on, dug in, and took Ray Armstrong a couple extra yards to pick up the first down.
Most of the guys in this Ohio State offense are juniors and seniors. Stoneburner is one of the young guys, a sophomore out of Dublin, Ohio, right here by Columbus. Does a nice job of fighting for that first down after the catch.
Boy, if Miami's defense could force a field goal here, it would be huge. A touchdown for Ohio State will give them the momentum back heading to the locker room. Pryor back to throw on first down to the end zone and tipped away. In the secondary by Brandon McGee. Nice play by number 21. Receivers and DBs are doing some talking to each other right now. So second down at 10 at the Hurricane 16-yard line. 3 wideouts. Dorian Washington joining Sanzenbacher and Posey.
Yeah, here's Sean Spence right here. You got to keep your eye on Pryor as a runner.
Here he comes on the option. He'll pitch late. Heron with a stiff arm, but knocked out of bounds at about the 12-yard line. Number one, Brandon Harris with the tackle. So now here is the biggest third down of the first half so far. It'll be a pretty hardy one. 3rd down and 6. Clock stopped as Heron was knocked out of bounds.
One thing we've not seen Miami do is really try to come after Terrell Pryor. They've not really blitzed him too much. They've had a spy there for him with Sean Spence. They've tried to rush with 4 and be disciplined. They've not gone after him.
3 wideouts again, and Stoneburner, the tight end, set up on the left side as Pryor drops to throw on 3rd and 6. Here's a stiff arm. He's going to keep it. And a collision right at the first down marker with Ray Armstrong. And the spot looks like it gives Ohio State a 1st and goal. And it is.
They brought Sean Spence on this play, and he couldn't get Pryor on the ground. Here comes Spence, unblocked. The stiff arm sheds the tackle, and Pryor gets the 1st down. Spence was there. The call was right, but you can't account for that stiff arm of Terrell Pryor.
1st and goal at the 6 for the Buckeyes. And Miami's going to take a timeout. So with a timeout, 1:39 remaining in the half. You know, Todd's taste of the town is back.
In reference to the line of game, the previous play is under further review.
So we'll look at the review. Taste of the town with Todd is back, and it's brought to you by Expedia. Let's see where the big fella went this week.
Nacho and Dina Sokluski emigrated from Macedonia, and in 1942 they opened up a restaurant in Columbus's German village called the Thurman Cafe. The place is still in its original location, and it remains a family-owned business, currently run by 3rd-generation Sokluskis, Paul, Mike, and Donna. Now, Dina's specialty was a Coney Island hot dog, which is still on the menu, but over the years it's become most well-known for awesome burgers.
And we're going to talk about one of those awesome burgers with Todd after we see this challenge to the ruling on the field on whether or not it was a 1st down picked up by Terrell Pryor.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. 1st down. Miami is charged a timeout. It is a 30-second timeout.
So Miami loses a timeout. It was worth the shot, though, with 1:39 remaining in the half. That Randy Shannon decided he would take a crack with a timeout. Hurricanes offense hoping their defense can come up with a stop somehow and prevent any further damage. But the Buckeyes are done knocking on the door again at the 6-yard line.
It was a good idea to take the timeout to let their defense regroup a little bit after they didn't get the stop on 3rd down. Little down in the dumps, body language, and I think it was a smart idea to call timeout, not just to challenge the play, but to let his defensive guys regroup.
Here's your Buckeye 1st and goal. They lead by 3 here in the late stages of quarter number 2.
Unbalanced line. They got a tackle over in the tight end spot.
Pryor to throw. Got a man overshot. Zach Bourne is fullback.
Good, Cody. Thank you. Cody.
So it'll be 2nd down and goal.
Cody.
Ohio State with 2 timeouts remaining, should they need to use them. They got a kick return for a touchdown, a punt return for a touchdown for Miami and Ohio State. Some big pass plays from Pryor, some big runs from number 2 as well. Will he run here? Yes, he will. Ran into one man, kept his balance, got to the 5, maybe the 4. It'll bring up a 3rd down and goal. Olivier Vernon is the guy that stayed with it and helped out on the stop. And can that Hurricane defense come up with one more stop here? They're going to take a timeout.
Timeout. Miami. That's their second charge timeout of the half. It is a 30-second timeout.
It gives us a chance to see what my partner had to eat at Thurman Cafe.
Now, all the burgers at Thurman's are made fresh and made huge, but the big daddy of them all is the Thurminator, a 12-ounce patty with bacon, cheddar cheese, hot peppers, then topped with another 12-ounce burger with grilled onions, mushrooms, sliced ham, and provolone cheese, all dressed out with lettuce, tomato, and mayo. Seriously? I just hope I finish before kickoff. Whoa.
You didn't. Seriously.
No,
Seriously.
Yeah,
you did?
I did. Every last bite.
You sent me a picture on a text yesterday, and I said you didn't eat all that. But you did. Even the fries.
Everything.
One little piece of lettuce that went unused.
Got a little slimy. The lettuce, I had to get rid of it because it's, so much juice on the burger. But,
right.
Awesome.
Knife and fork only.
Yeah,
you can't pick that thing up. Yeah, that looked good. It looks pretty good right now. And right now, we got a pretty good football game, too. Don't forget, each week you can log on right here and tell us why you should get a $100 gift certificate to the featured restaurant of Todd's every week. Tell us why you're hungry, who you take with you, fill out your name. You might be lucky enough to go to one of those joints that Todd goes to. Big play, 3rd down. Pryor rolls, throws, incomplete. Had a man, and it was his tight end.
Yeah. And see, there's a situation where Terrell Pryor should have run the football. He's out on the edge. He's 6'5", 240 pounds. And instead of running to the corner, he tries to throw back across his body. Watch. If he runs, he scores. I don't think there's anybody that stops him at the goal line if he takes off.
Not to mention, Zach Warren was out there. The fullback could have leveled, the only guy that had a shot at him. So the Hurricanes do hold Ohio State to a field goal attempt. And here's Devin Barclay to try from 21. He's made from 24 and 41. This one's a little tighter on the left hash mark. Bowserman to hold. And the kick is perfect again. So they would have loved to have 7, but they'll take the 3 and the 6-point lead with just over a minute left in the half as we check in with Reese Davis. Reese?
Brett, coming up on the Bud Light halftime report, unlike Todd and his big burger, Florida State has bitten off more than it can chew with Oklahoma. The Sooners are just gashing the Seminoles. We'll show it all to you. And also not a great day for the ACC because an FCS team rises up. Maybe Virginia Tech let Boise State beat them twice. Mark and Lou join me. We'll show you everything that's going on coming up at the half.
All right, Reese, and that half is just 101 away. As here, Ohio State caps a 24-yard drive. They didn't have to go far again because of the kickoff return by Hall. You talk about kickoff returns and punt returns and big plays. We've had a bunch of them here in the first 2 quarters. Basil now will tee this one up. He's been trying to keep it out of the hands of Lamar Miller or Eduardo Clements. Clements fielded the last one. They've gone to the short pooch kicks. This time they're going to drill it on the ground. Miami's just got it covered at the 33-yard line. And you go, why are they not kicking away? Well, for Miami, they've got some dangerous guys as far as return men. This was Miller, 88 yards for Miami's first touchdown, and nobody's going to catch him. And then you got to watch out on a punt return for number 3, because Travis Benjamin knows what to do too. And he takes this one 79 yards on a punt return for the score. That gave Miami the lead. Ohio State has subsequently come back to regain it. They lead by 6 with just less than a minute remaining in the half. Miami's got 1 timeout left to work with. Harris.
Are you kidding?
That is intercepted by Chekwa. 3rd interception thrown by Ja'Cory Harris.
Now that one is not on Ja'Cory Harris. That one went right through the hands of Travis Benjamin into Chekwa's hands. But again, it's the same result. A costly turnover in Ohio State's part of the field. And there it is. Ohio State set up again to add more points before halftime.
Well, he's done some big things. He's done some bad things.
Yeah.
Travis Benjamin didn't turn around on one pass play that he thought was a run. That one, he almost handed off to Chekwa. And Ohio State fans are roaring right now because the Buckeyes with another opportunity again at the 27-yard line. Fourth start today in Cane territory.
Miami is really confused defensively. They don't have their personnel in the right spot, and they got to waste a timeout.
Boy, now Brandon Harris has given it to some of his teammates in that secondary.
Timeout of the half.
They take their last timeout with 49 seconds remaining. You want to hang around to see if the Buckeyes do any further damage. They lead by 6. As Todd said, you can't blame that last interception on number 12.
Well, the bottom line is you can't do this against Ohio State.
Or you're going to get beat.
Yeah, that's what they live on.
Pryor, one play after the interception, going to be dropped. Big play by Miami's defense. Regis got in there. Marcus Fortson got in there, and now Ohio State's going to take a timeout.
Ohio State, their second charge timeout of the half. It is the 32nd timeout.
So Ohio State's only got one way to stop it again, barring a incompletion or the ball out of bounds. 43 seconds left.
You know, considering the situations that the turnovers have put the Miami defense in, I think they've played well here the first half. Yeah, Ohio State has 23 points, but they've done a pretty good job of holding their own in sudden change situations.
Well, fans here in Columbus seen a good game, and they're checking out the latest 3D technology used to telecast today's game at the Bud Light River Jam tailgate. If you've been wondering what 3D is all about, you can go into a store this weekend and watch ESPN 3D for yourself. Both today and tomorrow, hundreds of consumer electronics stores are part of an event called 3D Demo Days Real. That's 13 hours a day of 3D action, including football, basketball, the X Games, World Cup, all airing on ESPN and 3D. You can go check it out at a consumer electronics store near you. There's some of our 3D cameras that are basically on the other side of the field. They give you a different look. Joe Tessitore and Tim Brown and Ray Bentley are doing the game in 3D. Right here in HD, Brad Nessler, Todd Blackledge, and Holly Rowe. And Terrell Pryor throwing a deep out and didn't quite get it out there.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, he did?
No, he did.
I didn't think he caught it. Sanzenbacher laid out for it, but it hit the turf.
That's it for Miami because Sanzenbacher was wide open behind the defense. If they convert this, they're inside the 15.
It's a good call, obviously. Yep. Two officials right there. Sanzenbacher, good acting job, but incomplete. And third down and 16. 36 seconds left. Again, Ohio State's got a timeout left. They're trying to take advantage of Ja'Cory Harris' third interception of the first half. They need a big chunk of yardage, though, to keep it alive here. Pryor throws back to the middle and complete. They got a big chunk of yardage, and they got Nadir Posey inside the 10. Pick up at 26 on 3rd and 16.
And they're going hurry up.
They haven't gotten the sticks moved yet. Now they do. Clock starts, and Terrell Pryor downs it to save a timeout.
Well, really a nice job of Terrell Pryor. When he moves out of the pocket because of the pressure, he keeps his eyes downfield, so he never loses sight of Posey crossing the field in front of his face, and he makes the nice touch pass for the first down.
And Posey went up to get that one. And it comes down at the 8-yard line. A 7 now is the line of scrimmage. Second down and goal. Corey Brown joins the wide receiver core. Terrell Pryor taking his time on the shotgun, throws the quick slant to Posey again. He's down inside the 5. And they haven't taken their time out yet.
No, they can spike it again if they want.
They're going to run it here. Pryor, the stiff arm, knocked out of bounds with 2 seconds remaining, so they've got enough time to get their field goal unit out there.
Yeah, if you wanted to run a play, I'm not sure why you don't call timeout right there.
You still can bring your field goal team on 4th down if you throw incomplete. Obviously, if you don't have a timeout, it's a little dangerous to run the football, but call that timeout if you want to take a shot at the end zone.
So a guy that's been perfect today so far, 3 for 3. He'll try from 24, which is where he made his first one from. And as the rain comes down again, Barclay can end the half here with 3 more points for Ohio State, and he does. So it could have been worse.
Yeah.
The interception by Harris set up Ohio State. It could have been a touchdown. At least it was only 3, and it keeps them in the ball game on the road as we check in with Holly.
Coach, what has to change to get Ja'Cory Harris more comfortable?
Well, we got to get the receivers running the right routes. Miscommunications on 2 interceptions, and that was uncalled for. We've been working those things in practice all week long, and we got to get better at that.
Your defense on sudden change has been put in some tough positions. What do you like about how they've held up?
I think they held up pretty well, but we got to tackle better. We're not doing a very good job of the tackle, and then in the second half, we got to come out and tackle a lot better than we did in the first half.
All right, Coach. Thanks very much.
So Randy Shannon goes to the locker room. His team down 26-17. Bud Light halftime report coming up with Reese and the gang. 26-17 here in Columbus.
You're watching ESPN, new home of the Bowl Championship Series.
Touch that track, it turns into gold. Yes, it turns to gold. Everybody knows I got the magic in me. I got the magic.
Miami trailing entering the third quarter. College football presented by Cars.com, but they'll have the ball first to start the third quarter. Ohio State 26, the Canes 17. Barclay, who did a great job with his field goals in the first half, will kick it away. They've tried to keep it out of number 6's hands. Lamar Miller with a lot of short kicks. This time they're going to kick it away. Take a chance. That's Miller at the 9. He already took one today, 88 yards. He don't even take this one 8 yards. Nice coverage that time. I'm sure Ohio State got a talking to about their special teams. Brad Nessler, Todd Blackledge, Holly Rowe. Partner, you look at the score right now. 9 points is not bad considering Miami's got 28 yards rushing and they got 3 interceptions.
Right. Yeah, the special teams obviously have held them in there. The defense has held its own. But it is imperative, starting with this drive, that Miami and Ja'Cory Harris take care of the football. The turnovers put their defense in bad spots, and it allowed Ohio State to run 22 more plays than the Hurricanes in that first half. They've got to do a better job securing the football.
Let's see how they do. They start their own 21-yard line. Play action, throwback to Mike James. James, a head-on collision, not only with Devin Torrance, but his own player as well. The interceptions were the big problem.
Yeah, the first one was a tip ball. They didn't score a touchdown after that. And then he threw that one. There was a miscommunication with he and Benjamin. And then the final one, again, a little miscommunication on the outside. And Benjamin and Ja'Cory Harris, I'm sure they had a little heart-to-heart in the locker room at halftime.
And as Randy Shannon told Holly going to the locker room, 2 of those interceptions were as much the fault as the receivers as number 12. And he comes up slinging, and he goes right back to Benjamin again. And he is swarmed by a host of Buckeyes, but he's got a big gain in the first down.
At the top of the show, when we talked about the quarterbacks, I talked about wanting to watch how they are developing to become a top-level quarterback. Maturity, decision-making. Well, this is the toughest situation you can be in for a quarterback. You throw 3 interceptions in the first half, but you're only down 9. Your team still needs you, and they're still counting on you to rally and make some plays. And he's off to a good start here in the third quarter.
First down at the 46-yard line. Damian Barry back behind Ja'Cory Harris now as a tailback. And he'll get the call. And he broke a tackle or 2. And he got into Ohio State territory as we check in with Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, I had a chance to talk with Miami quarterback Ja'Cory Harris just briefly as he came out after halftime. He's a very resilient kid. Remember, he was 30-0 in high school as a starter, and I said, hey, how you doing after that first half? He gave me the thumbs up, a big smile, and said, hey, I'm okay. We'll see if he can shake it off here in the second half.
He tries to keep his teammates loose. Earlier this week, if you look at his mom and dad, he showed up at class wearing Oakland Raider gear with no shirt and an Oakland Raider cap and backpack. That got everybody laughing. They're not laughing right now, but he would love to put a drive together here, and he's got something working with Berry. 40, down the sideline, Damian Berry. All the way down inside the 10. C.J. Barnett saved a touchdown. So we talked about 28 rushing yards on 14 carries for the Canes in the first half. And Berry did his imitation of Edgerrin James on that one.
Well, first of all, they go unbalanced line. That's a tackle. So they have 3 linemen here, and they're going to run out this way behind the tight end. They have an extra lineman in the game, and they run away from it, and they catch the Ohio State defense, overloaded to the other side, and bust it out for a big run.
Just what the doctor ordered for the Canes. First and goal, just that quickly at the 6-yard line. Miller is in at the tailback spot. And they blow this one dead.
Left guard moved.
That's the second time Gunn with a false start today.
Number 66, 5-yard penalty. First down.
Remember, it gets a little noisy down there. Gigantic crowd on the road. First road game of the season. It can mean a lot. And these folks know that fill this stadium to over 100,000 for the 57th straight time here today. Still Miller and Hill in a dual backfield. It'll be Miller. Weaves his way back inside the 10, but that's about it. John Simon has had a nice game. The sophomore out of Youngstown from that defensive tackle position holds his ground and makes the stop.
Yeah, Simon is from Cardinal Mooney High School, the same high school that produced the Stoops brothers, Bo Pelini,
Paul McGuire.
Okay.
Pablo, you get a shout out there. That was a long time ago, though.
Yeah.
Second down, a goal at the 9. Ja'Cory Harris in the shotgun, and Berry will empty that Hurricane backfield. Oh, there might have been motion again as the pass is incomplete. Looked like the right tackle jumped out of his stance early.
For some reason, it looked like Ja'Cory Harris tried to guide that ball in there rather than zip it in. And the ball just kind of hung in the air and enabled the 2 Ohio State defenders to really collide with Hankerson.
They're trying to get hurried up to the line, but they got the receivers on the wrong side of the field. Now they get them straight. 3rd and goal. Canes trying to strike early in the 3rd quarter. Intercepted again. Cameron Hayward, the big guy. Does he have enough gas? He's got a convoy in front. Cameron Hayward, mini Ironhead, still on his feet, all the way to the 15-yard line. Oh, my goodness. 80 yards on the return.
Well, Damian Berry was the intended receiver, and he ran into the umpire right in the backfield, and Hayward was dropping into a zone blitz and gets the interception. Now Hayward is here. He's going to drop into coverage. Watch Damian Berry get bumped by the official on his way to the ball. Actually, he didn't bump it, but he stopped thinking he might hit him, and Hayward gets the interception.
And you're taking 288 pounds the other way with 4 guys helping you. Travis Benjamin got a hand on him, and it helped 2 of the linemen get there to bring him down. Interception number 4. Buckeyes from the 15 now. Aaron, 2 or 3. Cameron still sucking wind over there on the sideline. I don't blame him. He just carried 288 pounds, 80 yards the other way.
See, I think what happened on that play, Brad, is that Ja'Cory Harris did not see Hayward drop into coverage. The tailback, Damian Berry, did, and Berry stopped to try to give himself an angle, and Ja'Cory Harris threw it right to Cameron Hayward.
Second down and 8 from the 13. Ohio State can get a first down at about the 5. Pryor rolls to throw. Terrell's going to pull it down, and now he's got a group in front of him. Touchdown, Buckeyes. Yard touchdown run by big number 2. Career high tying 4th interception of Ja'Cory Harris, and it turns into 7 if the extra point goes through for the Buckeyes. Barclay, the kick is good. Just when it looked like Miami was not only going to get back in the game, but draw very close. Disaster hit. The interception by Hayward. The scamper by Pryor. And it's the Buckeyes 33-17. Cam Hayward, son of the late Ironhead, Craig Ironhead Hayward, looking like his daddy after that interception, rumbling 80 yards. He ran all the way from Swanee, Georgia to Duluth, Georgia. If you've ever been down where Cam played high school ball, you know how far that is. And now Miami's in a little bit of trouble, Mr. Blackledge. Barclay, the short pooch kick. This one is returnable, though, from the 29-yard line. And Johnson, with a flag down, is still on his feet across the 40. Didn't get a preliminary call on the field, so we'll wait and see what the flag's about. Here's the call.
During the return, holding, receiving team number 51. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Well, they had pretty good field position on that short kick return. Now they won't have nearly as good a field position with 10:07 remaining in the third quarter. Let's take you back to the interception.
Well, right there's Cameron Hayward, and defensive coordinator Jim Heacock did a great job calling a zone blitz and dropping Hayward into coverage. Ja'Cory Harris never looked at him, never anticipated it. His eyes were locked on Damian Barry, and that enabled Hayward to step right in front of the throw and then really show some ability, athleticism, running the ball down the sideline. But they really fooled Ja'Cory Harris on that play.
We said earlier to see how Ja'Cory Harris can shake off 3 interceptions. Now let's see how he can shake off 4 interceptions as we check in with Holly.
Well, guys, you can see Ja'Cory Harris very ginger right now. Looks like he's been having some cramping issues over on the sideline. In fact, the play right before that interception, he came over to get the play call and he could barely get back to the huddle. Looks like both calves cramping up on the quarterback for Miami.
In the shotgun, Harris here. Goes over the middle, short to Barry. He's got Roll draped all over him. Picked up maybe 5, but Brian Roll, the middle linebacker, didn't let him get far. And there's what Holly was talking about. He's having a hard time getting up again, and the right leg's just not even working. We're only 5 minutes into the third quarter, and you would think that they tried desperately to rehydrate the Hurricanes at halftime. And they're in the north here. They're supposed to be prepared for some muggy conditions. Quick throws, a first down. LaRon Byrd, that's his first catch of the day. If you're wondering about the backup quarterback, A.J. Highsmith, Alonzo Jr. is the backup, the sophomore. And he's got his chin strap pretty tight right now, thinking that he might indeed have to come in here. And again, Ja'Cory Harris, as Holly reported, limping up under center. He's having a hard time bending over, getting the snap right now. On the ground, Barry, nice run, one of his best of the day. Ran into his own man, LaRon Byrd, who was blocking out there for him, but he did get a dozen and a first down.
As much as you don't want to take Ja'Cory Harris out of the game, they may have to for a couple plays just to try to attend to him. because they can't afford for him to really cramp up and in the middle of a play. And now they've got Joel Figueroa, the starting right tackle, coming off. Looks like the same situation, cramping. Very unusual. Team from Florida comes up here. It's a relatively cool day. Must not have thought they had to hydrate quite as much.
Harris throws. Nice throw. A flag down, though, at the line of scrimmage. Chase Ford makes the catch. It would be a pickup of 17. I think it's all coming back.
Holding. Offense, number 78. 10-yard penalty. First down.
And Figueroa went out. Jermaine Johnson came in and immediately picks up a holding call. And so they back it up into their own end of the field again. There's Figueroa, the starter, the senior.
They really like Jermaine Johnson. He's really come on. He's a redshirt freshman out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Went to Hargrave Military Academy. And they got called for the hold on that play.
So first and 20, backed up in their own territory at the 47-yard line. Draw play, Berry. Ohio State trying to stretch it out. They do, and a nice tackle over there by Devon Torrance, who went through the would-be block of Bird and hit him low and dropped him.
Devon Torrance from my hometown of Canton, Ohio. Played Canton South. Was also a great baseball player.
Played 3 years of summer ball in the Houston Astros organization. Crossing pattern. And back inside the 45 to Hankerson. Miami had an opportunity early in this third quarter. If you just joined us about 6 minutes ago, they were down with a first and goal. And Ja'Cory Harris subsequently on third down threw his 4th interception of the game to Cameron Hayward. And that flipped the field, the scoreboard, and everything else. Now here's a big 3rd and 11. Harris zips it down. Nice catch by Hankerson as he went airborne to snag that one at about the 28-yard line. Picked up 16 on 3rd and 11.
And Ja'Cory Harris is showing some guts right here, fighting off leg cramps. He's still got to move in the pocket, buys himself a little time, and makes a nice strong throw across the middle.
Big opener for Lamar Miller. We got a flag down. Miller's all the way to the 3. Now we got an Ohio State player down too. It might be Cameron Hayward. So cramping becoming an issue here in the third quarter.
Illegal shift. Player never set on the offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Well, they were trying to hurry up, and that's what happened. And now with Gatorade in hand, they're out there working on the right leg of Cameron Hayward. Remember, he ran about 3 miles with that interception, and I'm sure he never got a chance to really load up over there on the sideline trying to get the electrolytes back. So they'll give him some right there on the field. Holly.
Well, it hasn't been since middle school that Cameron Hayward played on offense. He said when he first started out, they put him at tight end, and he thought he was pretty good there. Then they tried to move him to fullback, and his dad, Ironhead, stepped in and said, hey, I don't want them to continually be trying to compare him to me throughout his career. So he said, no more fullback for my son, and they put him on defense. But I don't think he was used to running that far, guys.
No, I don't either. 6'8" senior who could have gone to the NFL, wanted to come back and lead his team defensively to what they hope is a national championship chase to get to the Fiesta Bowl. Right now they're playing the team that they beat in that game in early 2003, and they lead 33-17. The stakes for Randy Shannon's team. Wow. The missed field goal, the penalties, and the 4 turnovers. 3 of those in their own territory. So first and 15. Harris throws the out, complete to Bird. He's been using LaRon Bird pretty effectively here on this drive. And again, Miami comes up to the line without a huddle. And with 4 receivers, Chase Ford, the tight end, is the slot on the right side. Second down at 4. Harris completes it again to LaRon Bird, and he's really close I think they're going to say he's about 2 feet short. Corey Harris, well, he's answered the call again. Ledge, he's 6 for 6 on the drive so far.
Well, there's no question that they've got the skill guys to play with Ohio State. Their offensive line has done a pretty good job, but you can't come in here and turn the ball over.
Miller weaves his way before Ross Holman stops him, but he got the first down on 3rd and short. Only needed a couple of feet and got it.
This is kind of the trademark of Ohio State is, again, you take a look at Ja'Cory Harris really laboring even to get deep in the backfield to make the handoff.
He's in the backfield in the shotgun, and he's firing at the goal line, in and out of the hands. Chase Ford had his hands on it, but he got popped pretty good back there, and out it came.
Chase Ford is a guy they're really counting on at Miami this year. They lost some senior tight ends last year. Richard Gordon came back this year from an injury of a year ago. Chase Ford's a junior college kid out of Corrigan, Texas, that they have high hopes for.
11th play drive so far. Corner for Bird. Battle over there with Devon Torrance, and neither can come down with it. Now it's 3rd and 10. Put enough air under it to give Bird a chance for a jump ball, but Torrance was equal to the task over there on the corner, the senior out of Canton. Miami does not want a field goal, but they've got to earn all of 10 yards. They can get a first down at about the 7-yard line. That seems like a mile away for him right now. And a bad snap and a false start. I think it's going to be on Gunn again. If it is, it'll be the 3rd one.
False start. Offense, number 72. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
And enough for a coach to make you shake your head. Again, they're down there. A lot of noise coming out of that end zone, but the 3rd penalty on Miami on their offense just on this drive. They're killing themselves with flags. And it'll get loud again as they come up to the ball with a 3rd and long. Miller empties the Hurricane backfield. Harris fires. Got his man in and out of the hands of Aldarius Johnson. It would have been a touchdown had he held on.
Tell you what, that's 3 passes in this drive that hit the receivers in the hands, and they weren't able to come up with the catches. This is a beautiful throw, right over roll, and that's got to be a catch. I mean, yes, there's contact, but that needs to be a catch for Miami. You're fighting to try to get back in this game. He dropped one. Bird dropped one in the corner, and the tight end Chase Ford dropped one, all in this drive.
Credit Jermail Hines with that hit that made the ball come out. Bosher will try a 39-yard field goal, and it's blocked. Now the Buckeyes special teams come up special. I think it was Devon Torrance that got the field goal block. Ohio State had it happen to them last week. They return in kind here, and Miami comes away empty.
Candidate from South Dakota, Dante Warren, accounted for well over 420 yards of offense and 5 touchdowns in the Coyotes' 41-38 victory over the Gophers. You can text your vote to 345-345 on your mobile phone, and when you do, you cast your vote for the Player of the Week and enter for a chance to win a trip to the National Championship game.
Well, that one's going to go over big in Minneapolis. Ja'Cory Harris has had a tough day, to say the least. Works from the 40-yard line. Fakes it to James and fires the near side. Pickup of about 13 to Leonard Hankerson again. Check in with Holly.
Well, during that last drive, the Miami offense had enough. Senior running back Damian Barry called all of his players together and really lit into them. But it was a positive message. He said, guys, our defense is the only thing that's been keeping us in this game. It's time we do our part. He got on the receivers, particularly Ron Bird. It's time to catch the ball. We've got to start making some plays.
We'll see if it works or helps. They got a first down in Buckeye territory. And Harris going deep. Nobody home back there. And it was LaRon Bird, the closest receiver. Dexter Larimore hit Ja'Cory Harris as he let go of that one again.
Well, even though it is a 3-score game, I mean, it's still, you know, you get a whole quarter of play. I mean, and Miami has got explosive weapons. If they could score some points quickly, they could fight their way back into the game. Because as Holly mentioned, the defense is playing pretty well.
And there's motion again on the right side. Figueroa, who was out for a few plays.
Number 61. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Another offensive penalty. Whole bunch of false starts.
And you know what? The false starts are just a lack of focus. They're not because of crowd noise.
Not in the middle of the field.
No, it's just a lack of focus and concentration right now by some guys that you don't expect it from. I mean, Figueroa is one of your key guys. He was a starter at right guard last year. He's a senior. You don't expect that.
2nd and 15. Lamar Miller on a quick opener, and it closed in a hurry too, courtesy of Brian Roll, right at the midfield stripe.
You just see how good this team tackles Ohio State. Brian Roll, undersized for a middle linebacker, 5'11", 215 pounds. Grew up in Immokalee, Florida, and thought for sure he'd be a Miami Hurricane.
Harris across the middle. And they got something working there. First down throw to Hankerson again. And now we got a Buckeye down. C.J. Barnett was involved with the collision down there with the wide receiver.
Officials timeout for an injured player.
C.J. Barnett, a Dayton, Ohio native, in that secondary, and holding his right lower leg, it appears. Well, Miami again back in Ohio State territory. We'll see if they can do something with it. And you mentioned, Todd, that it can happen in a hurry. They get 31 seconds to work with here, 15 more minutes. They had 3 touchdown drives last week in their opening win that were 2 minutes or less.
Right.
But they can't turn it over anymore.
No,
it's
they
over.
can't. I mean, and I really, I said that when they started the third quarter. No more turnovers in their first possession. They turned it over again, and that led to an Ohio State touchdown. So obviously they've got to take care of the ball, but they've got some weapons that can strike quickly. And again, their defense has, I think, done a pretty admirable job after being put in some difficult situations throughout the whole game.
So Barnett will come out, and Orion Johnson will take his spot. So one sophomore out and another sophomore in the secondary for Ohio State. Cameron Hayward, he might be up for that Player of the Week award that Reese was talking about. Big number 97. You missed it earlier. He had an interception and an 80-yard return before they finally tracked him down. 1st and 10, Hurricanes here late in the third quarter. Ja'Cory Harris rolls to throw and caught. And it's going to be another first down. Good catch by Leonard Hankerson. And he was well covered by Moeller.
Well, Cameron Hayward today, sometimes he's a man among boys. I mean, you just have to account for him all the time because he's so powerful. This time he gets tied up with Orlando Franklin, and he's just had a monster game again.
Well, Harris is flushed. He does not like to run necessarily, but he gets a big gain on the scramble here, and they've got it down to a 1st and goal again. 16 yards on the run.
Now, he doesn't like to run, but he knows sometimes it's the best option, especially if the team is running all over the field with wide receivers and a big hole opens up. And that's what he saw that time.
We played 3 at the Horseshoe. Can Miami come back from a 36-17 hole they've dug themselves in? Buckeye fans don't think so. We start the fourth quarter. Andy Shannon had said a lot of times how the first quarter goes, that dictates the rest of the game. It hasn't panned out that way for his Hurricanes, but they've got a 1st and goal again to start the fourth. Ja'Cory Harris scrambles, buys himself some time, throw, and
touchdown to Chase Ford. So the Hurricanes score on the first play of the fourth quarter.
I think he just kind of jumped right over the top of Brian Roll and grabbed the football, because Roll was there. And watch this throw by Ja'Cory Harris right over the hands of Brian Roll, who's short for a middle linebacker at 5'11", and Chase Ford is there for the catch. A beautiful throw.
So finally, after 4 interceptions, a touchdown throw for Ja'Cory Harris, and he's got his team at least back within striking distance. Boshier with a point after it. It's good. And it only took us one play of the fourth quarter to give us a ball game again, thanks to number 12 to number 9. 36-24. The Hurricanes back to within 2 scores. 36-24. They haven't fared very well against teams ranked in the top 2 in the country over the last decade. As you see, all those losses: Alabama, Florida State, Nebraska, Virginia Tech, and Ohio State. The last time they won against a team that was ranked number 1 was at Tallahassee, 17-16 over the Noles in 1991. Right now they're on the short end to number 2 Ohio State here in Columbus. Kick will come to Berry at the 2, and Berry got outside. Down the sideline and across the 45. Another excellent return. 45 yards on the return, and we return to Reese Davis.
All right, Brad. Brigham Young, after beating Washington in their opening game, taking on Air Force on the road, and Air Force cutting them up with that option. Tim Jefferson, the pitch to Jonathan Morzika. Morzika would house it. Air Force has added another one, and they are hammering Brigham Young 35-14 in the fourth. Here is Nick Saban. The skies have cleared in Tuscaloosa. Weather forecast looks good. Alabama and Penn State coming up next.
They're following us. And here, number 2 leads number 12 by 12. The first down is a toss to Herron. Herron wrapped up by Sean Spence, who has had a marvelous game at outside linebacker for the Canes. Miami's defense trying to get it back for their offense. But Ohio State, 3 touchdowns and a school record tying 5 field goals by Barclay have given them the 36 points.
And they've really had a huge upper hand in field position, an average starting field position throughout this game.
Here's Terrell Pryor keeping it, cutting back to the other side. He's got a wide open field. Pryor, great speed, the stiff arm of Brandon Harris, but Harris at least got him out of bounds. 26 more yards for Terrell Pryor on the ground.
Well, again, the play is pretty well defended. They bottle him up, but they don't wrap him up. And that's not good enough for number 2. And he reverses his field and uses his speed to get outside and picks up a first down.
We talked to Jim Tressel and Jim Bowman about the runs of Terrell Pryor. And I think Holly said, how many runs would you like him to have? And they said 12's a pretty good number, 5 by design, and 7 when he just takes off on his own.
It's interesting. When he does run, he averages over 14 yards a carry on undesigned runs, scrambles like that. Only 6 yards when they call a quarterback run.
He's got 80 yards on the ground now, and now his tailback's got another 10 or 11. Boom Herron, you hear the chants again of Boom as he got 11 or 12. And Ohio State chewing up chunks of yardage to try to answer that Miami touchdown.
Ohio State, good block by the fullback, Zach Boren. His brother is the left guard who transferred from Michigan a couple years ago. And that's just power smash mouth football for Ohio State now in the fourth quarter.
They've got 2 tight ends in there now. Pryor looks around, takes his time. Trying to use as much clock as possible.
Yep, working the clock.
Here's Herron again, and again good blocking. McCarthy and Armstrong combine on the stop. And we work our way under 13 minutes. Colin McCarthy, senior, one of the captains out of Birdsboro, Pennsylvania.
Well, you go back to the kickoff return here for Ohio State. You know, right after the Miami touchdown, you get a little momentum. Your defense has got a little bounce, but they have to start at midfield because they don't cover the kick properly. And Ohio State with excellent starting field position as they've had most of this game.
Again, Terrell Pryor taking his time at 2nd down and 9 at the Hurricane 13-yard line. Toss, sweep, Heron. This time, nice job by Jomo to close the door and drop him for a loss. Let's check in with Holly.
Well, here's what makes Jim Tressel a great coach, guys. On that kickoff return that really set up this great field position, his back, who was back deep, Jamal Berry, was too far up the field. Jim Tressel went sprinting down the sideline. He ran 30 yards, screaming at him, get back on the goal line, get back on the goal line. The kid made the adjustment right before the kick got to him, and the result, a big kickoff return. That's the attention to detail that keeps winning him championships.
Boy, he's got one in his pocket and several more at Youngstown State before he got here 10 years ago. Pryor, empty backfield. He's got a bunch receiving group of 3 to his left, but he's coming back the other way, and he threw it behind and low to Corey Brown. And that's another one of those passes that Todd says that's kind of the distance he has a little trouble with.
Yeah, well, and it's hard. I mean, he's a big guy. He's got long strides. He's got a long arm, and that's just a quick timing throw, and he holds on to it a little bit too long, and the ball goes right down towards the ground.
Well, this would be an ongoing school record for Devin Barclay if he hits another one. He'll have it all by himself. This one's from 32. And again, Bowserman to hold at the 22 on the left hash mark. Barclay for a record 6th. Nope. Line drive, and he missed it. And that is a big miss. You just thought that was going to be automatic the way he's been kicking. Now we get a 12-point game with just under 12 to go. She's not over yet in Columbus. As our old friend, the late Hank Stram, would say, they're going left, Jack. They're going left, Jack. They'll be going left in Richmond tonight. NASCAR at Richmond on ABC tonight. Final race before the chase. Coverage starts 7:30 Eastern Time on ABC. We've got 11:25 remaining in the 4th quarter. With Todd Blackledge and Holly Rowe, I'm Brad Nessler. Nice to have you along with us. It's number 12 against number 2. Number 12's got another chance after the Buckeyes just missed a field goal. Ja'Cory Harris pressured, flushed from the pocket. And he will get what he can and slide awkwardly at about the 27-yard line. Fans here booing. They're used to seeing their quarterback try to run over people or stiff-arm people, and Ja'Cory does the wise thing. He's got 1 touchdown pass on the live and 4 interceptions, which ties his career high. He's going to run again, and I think he got the first down. John Simon holding on.
Yeah, like we said, he doesn't choose to run, like to run, but he can run. He's a very athletic kid, and he knows how important it is to get first downs. Now, they're running a hurry-up offense. You might remember we mentioned in their opening win against Florida A&M, they ran the 2-minute offense virtually the entire game when their first group was in there. So this is not new for them to play with a faster tempo.
First down from the 30. Berry knocked down, got about 3. Adam Bellamy is the guy that made the stop. I want to welcome those of you that have been watching Iowa in a win over Iowa State. We're at the Horseshoe in Columbus in this intersectional battle between the Buckeyes and the Hurricanes. Buckeyes with the lead, the Hurricanes with the ball. Ja'Cory Harris completes the pass to Berry, and Berry's got another first down, and he got out of bounds to stop the clock. So Miami hanging in there.
Right now, Ohio State is just trying to keep everything right in front. And they don't want Miami to get behind them for an easy play. So they're going to force Ja'Cory Harris to be very patient here and take underneath throws. They just don't want to give up a big easy one.
Under 10 minutes now. 1st and 10. Again, the crowd trying to come to life for the Buckeye defense. Harris, plenty of time. Deep sideline, and he threw it out of bounds. It was Travis Benjamin who was his intended receiver, or the closest man on that side. But for Ja'Cory Harris today, everything that he wanted to go right went wrong. One on a tip pass Nate Williams with the interception. Another one he threw right to Chekwa when his receiver didn't turn around. And then Benjamin had it in his hands, and he gave it up basically on a handoff to Chekwa. And then Cameron Hayward picked one off, and the defensive lineman went 80 yards the other way to set up a touchdown.
But as ugly as it's been, he still has his team in contention here, down 12. But again, he's got to be patient against this softer Ohio State coverage.
2nd and 10, and whistle stops play. Flag down.
There is no foul for a false start. It remains 2nd down.
Well, so there isn't a flag, but still the whistle stop play. So whatever you had called, Ohio State's seen what the formation was anyway. Yeah, just never mind. Mike James, the tailback in the eye behind Ja'Cory Harris, and Patrick Hill, the fullback. Play action. Harris running for his life, throws short to his safety valve. Hill, the fullback, and he got something out of it. He picked up 5. And that makes 3rd down a little bit easier, at least. There's the biggest 3rd down for Miami today. Crowd with a roar. Harris from the gun, firing, completes, and a 1st down inside the 40 to LaRon Byrd again. Pick up a 13 on 3rd down.
Well, they were zeroed in on the slot receiver. They thought that's where Harris would go. LaRon Byrd was the outside receiver and had single coverage out there, and Harris found it.
Again, they go hurry up at the 39-yard line. Harris pressured from the side, and the ball is out. He got it back. Dexter Larimore, and a kind of a lucky bounce. Nate Williams was coming around the side as well.
Well, Nate Williams came quick and actually knocked the ball loose, and Ja'Cory Harris had to secure the football, and that was why he couldn't get away from the next guy, Larimore. He had to catch the football back before he could do anything else.
Now it's 2nd down and long. Harris alone in the shotgun. Looking for a receiver, and he's going to have to throw this one out of bounds. There was nobody home over there, and he couldn't find an open man. Right now, the Buckeyes are playing with Orion Johnson at safety because C.J. Barnett, you saw him limp off earlier, right knee injury, and he will not come back. You see the ice bag on the knee, so one of their starters in the secondary. He's trying to get the crowd into it from his perch over there on the sideline.
Well, right now, if you're Ja'Cory Harris, I'm thinking this is probably 4-down territory for Miami, so you don't need to get all of it in one play. You don't need to get 19 yards. Even if you get 10 to 12, you come back on 4th down with a more reasonable play.
3rd and 19. Harris throws short to Miller. Can he outrun the Buckeyes? No. They'll get him at the 39-yard line. But now, as Todd said, it's 4th and 10. And Randy Shannon's going, let's go. Hurry up. Get up to the line. This might be the whole ball of wax right here.
Last time in this kind of a situation, they went to the single coverage on the outside. Bird's got it again.
Ja'Cory Harris, can he make a big play? Winds up, fires, sideline, no. Benjamin can't get there. And the Buckeyes, wait a minute, flag down. The flag at the line of scrimmage. They're talking to the Buckeye captain, so that's not a good sign for Miami.
Holding. Offense, number 74. The penalty is declined. 1st down.
Again, the pressure got to Harris. The Buckeyes will take over as this 4th down fails. Just that close. 36-24 Buckeyes.
ESPN's College Football is presented by Cars.com, where confidence comes standard, and in part by Devil, from the mind of M. Night Shyamalan. This Friday, Devil.
Ohio State's Cameron Hayward and the defense did their job on that last Miami drive. And 36-24, Ohio State with a lead, the ball, and 7:31 away from a big early season win. And nice job by Miami and Colin McCarthy to drop Brandon Sane for a loss.
We talked about what are some of the trademarks of a Jim Tressel team in the Ohio State program. They don't beat themselves. They're solid in the kicking game, play solid defense, and field position is usually a big part of their success. Today, this is Ohio State's 14th offensive possession. Their average starting field position today has been their own 48-yard line. And that is huge. As a play caller, as an offense, that is so much easier to play football on a half a field than having to work the whole field against a good defense.
Right now, they're not worried about how much field they have. They just want to burn that clock that has 6:45 remaining. And again, Sane, he met the hole on that one by Ray Armstrong from the secondary. Terrell Pryor today.
Well, he got him off on a good start on a long pass to Posey in the first quarter, then the touchdown to Sane. He hasn't had great numbers throwing it, but he's really come alive in the second half, primarily running the football when his team has needed him to run it.
And when he has run it, things like this happen, as he just coasted to the corner of the end zone on his touchdown run. So he's got 80 yards rushing. Again, he was the leading rusher last year for this team at almost 800. And 233 through the air. So back-to-back solid performances. More importantly, he hasn't made any mistakes as far as giving the ball up. Here he goes again. He might go over 100 before he's done running this one. He's got it all the way to the 45-yard line. Pickup of 15, so he is closing in on the century mark.
Well, very similar to what Florida did with Tim Tebow last year. Design quarterback draw. And then once he gets out there with his size, you see the stiff arm again. I mean, he still goes down, but not before he gains 6 or 7 more yards after the stiff arm on Brandon Harris.
First contact, very seldom does he go down. 4th time today, he's rushed for a first down on 3rd down.
This is what I like about him right here. I mean, he knows exactly what the situation is with the clock. He's got his eye on it. He's patient.
Uses it all the way down to 2 on the play clock. He's going to take off again around left end.
And he'll stay in bounds on this play.
Yeah.
I mean, he's right on it as far as management and developing as a quarterback.
He developed so much between the end of last season and the Rose Bowl that he was a Rose Bowl MVP a year ago. And you know, when you talk about the BCS era, the Rose Bowl game most valuable players, look what happened the following season. National titles, Kenny Dorsey, Matt Leinart, Vince Young. Could that 4th guy over there on the right be the next in line? Boy, Buckeye fans are hoping so. And of course, they've still got some hurdles on their Big Ten schedule, including Wisconsin and Iowa, most importantly probably. And of course, they slipped to Purdue last year, but this does look like a very solid Ohio State team. At least they have been today.
And I was talking to Ohio State's quarterback coach Nick Siciliano before the game about Terrell Pryor, just saying how much I've noticed his change fundamentally, mechanically. And he said, you know, thanks for the compliment, but it's really a credit to Terrell. I mean, he has worked really hard to perfect his craft, and he has really taken it upon himself to develop as a quarterback. And it shows. I mean, his just demeanor, everything about the way he's playing the position right now is pretty impressive.
Well, the difference from not only a year ago, but if you go back 2 years, it's just dramatic how much better he is, how much bigger he is, and how much work he's put in, as you said, to become more polished in every aspect. And right now, he's doing a great job leading the troops on the run here. Stiff arm, stretching out, trying to get the first down, and he is awfully close. Does that give him 100 on the day? 6 straight rushes, and they've taken 4 minutes off the clock, more importantly. 100 yards, a touchdown.
An official's timeout for an injured player.
Marcus Robinson is down. See Pryor stretching out that 6'6" frame. Our yellow line's not always perfect, but about 95% of the time it is.
Reset the game clock to 3:27. 3:27 on the game clock. Thank you.
There's the injured Hurricane, Marcus Robinson. And with a quick break here, let's check back in with the studio.
All right, Brad, want to get you up to date on Notre Dame and Michigan. Dane Christ back into the game, hit Kyle Rudolph with a 95-yard touchdown pass. Second longest in Notre Dame history, and the Irish clinging to a 3-point lead against Denard Robinson and the Wolverines. They're on the move in Irish territory, under 3 minutes to go. Just as soon as we finish FSU, Greg McElroy, never lost a game as a starter, will lead the Crimson Tide against Joe Pye and Penn State.
And here, 3:27 is all that's left, and Ohio State in command, leading 36-24. Marcus Robinson, the junior out of Homestead, Florida, being helped to the sideline. Meanwhile,
Miami, their first charge timeout of the half. It is a 30-second timeout.
Miami takes a timeout here. Well, coming in about 3 hours and change ago, Todd and I were saying when we came on the air, big intersectional battle, which there are several of today, including Florida State and Oklahoma, Penn State and Alabama and some others. But now the Hurricanes are going to know in 3.5 minutes the only thing they can do to get to Fiesta Bowl, barring a major turnaround in this game, is run the table and then hope to move back up the polls and that they get a lot of help. Ohio State knew the same thing coming in. They lose this game or they slip up somewhere in the Big Ten schedule, your chances aren't very good. And Miami, they got some tough games. Still out of conference. They got Pittsburgh for one thing, and then at Clemson. So they got back-to-back road games, and then their annual rivalry with Florida State. And you see the rest of the schedule. Virginia Tech lost today, so did Georgia Tech. So it hasn't been a good day for the ACC. It's not getting any better if this lead of Ohio State holds in the last 3.5 minutes. 4th and a yard, and Terrell Pryor has it.
Well, you mentioned the ACC. That's the other thing working against Miami a little bit, quite honestly, is even if they would run the table, does a one-loss ACC championship team have as much weight or as much clout as a one-loss SEC team or a one-loss Big Ten team? I don't know at this point.
Even though the coastal of the ACC looked like it was loaded, North Carolina, Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech, they've all lost already.
Yeah.
So the BCS titles have belonged in the SEC 4 straight years and 6 times overall. And Miami may go on to have a tremendous season, but they knew they were in for a buzzsaw here in the Big Ten today, and Ohio State was equal to the task. The turnovers, the biggest story. You take those out of the mix, and who knows, but you can't take those out of the mix. And when you're -4 on the turnover margin, it doesn't help the cause. And those -4s were that young man. Not always his fault, though, that's for sure. As soon as we're done, we're going to head south to Tuscaloosa. Penn State takes on the #1 team in the country, Crimson Tide. Number 18, Penn State. Number 1, Alabama. College football available on TV, online, and on your phone. You can go to ESPN.com for more information. Ohio State, I mentioned, they've got a couple of really tough road games coming up on their schedule. We'll show you that in just a second. Right now, 2nd down and 8. As they just try to chew up clock, give it to Brandon Saint again. He goes right in the middle of the pile. The time is on their side right now, though. And so is the scoreboard, obviously, 36-24. So for the Buckeyes,
Miami,
they've got a couple that should be pretty easy. And then even the Big Ten games at Illinois and Indiana, they're going to be expected to win. They head to Camp Randall on October 16th. That's going to be a question mark. Wisconsin went to 2-0 today, and they're always tough at home. And you go down the list, Penn State, Iowa, and Michigan to wrap things up. And at Iowa, at Kinnick Stadium's never easy either.
Yeah.
So a long ways to go, but this is a big hurdle that they're about ready to jump over.
Well, I think it was a very strong showing for Ohio State. You know, again, last week they did what was expected of them. They beat a team that really didn't have the same caliber of players that they did, and took care of business. Tonight,
a much different challenge from Miami. They played a solid game. Terrell Pryor, I think, got better as the game wore on, and they didn't make mistakes, and they don't beat themselves, and Miami did today.
You know, Holly talked with Jim Tressel on game day today. We talked to him about the very same thing yesterday, about scheduling this big of a non-conference opponent, as he has done many times. This early in the season, you find out what you're made out of right out of the blocks. And he said, you know what? That's what you want to find out. You want to find out how you fit in, how good you are, or maybe the things you need to work on. Doesn't need to work out too much with his quarterback as far as running the ball, that's for sure. And so what he found out today, he found out a lot. He found out he's got a solid team that can tackle. They don't turn the ball over. They had trouble with the kick and punt coverage, but other than that, it was a pretty good showing.
And what a luxury this is. When you need to milk clock and make first downs, let your quarterback just keep it. It's a quarterback sweep, and he gets you another first down. And again, the running ability of Terrell Pryor, if he stays healthy, going with his improved passing, is just going to make this team very, very difficult to defend.
Stiff arm looks like Jim Brown. I mean, it's just amazing. Got 20 rushes, career high, 112 yards on the ground. And he's working his way down to the 2-minute mark here. Here's Heron, got a blocker in front. Boom, Heron just following big number 70. And he's horse-collared by McCarthy. And maybe they're not going to call it, but that's what it looked like. Pickup of 18. He had big old Bryant Browning out there. And
tried to hide behind him, did he?
Boom.
Just kind of kept just got to get behind him.
Boom,
and
Boom said, I'm going to stay behind you. I'm going to grab you by the rear end and just keep leading me, big fella. Ohio speed. A lot was made about could Ohio State stay with the speed of Miami. They've proven they can. And they got a first and goal here.
Now this is class by Jim Tressel. He's not going to go for any more points. He's going to victory formation here with 1:37 and counting. And out of respect for Randy Shannon and sportsmanship.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
Absolutely supposed to be this way.
You don't have to worry about the score and style points when you're Ohio State and you play as solid as they just did at home. You take the 36-24 over the 12th ranked team in the country. Take off your headset. Put the win in your back pocket. One that will be his 96th in his 9+ seasons here. And as we said, the dreams of Buckeye fans about maybe this team being special and being able to go all the way and get back into the Fiesta Bowl where they beat these Miami Hurricanes 8 years ago. Well, they're going to beat them again. And they're going to do so pretty impressively. They took over at their own 39-yard line. They used the entire clock. They just kept running it and running it, both the quarterback and the tailback, and now they're going to win it by 12.
You know, when they beat them for the championship game in the 2003 Fiesta Bowl, the leading rusher for Ohio State was quarterback Craig Krenzel.
Yeah.
19 carries for 81 yards and a pair of touchdowns. Leading rusher today for Ohio State. That guy right there, number 2.
And you saw the poster on the far sideline. Real Ohioans wear scarlet and gray. A dig on LeBron James, who is a friend of Terrell Pryor's, and I'm sure LeBron is pretty proud of how number 2 played today. Randy Shannon and Jim Tressel. A lot of respect between those two guys. They talked during the offseason. They knew they were going to be in for a war today. They were. 36-24 is the final score. Ohio State is 2-0. Miami falls to 1-1. That's going to do it. For Todd Blackledge, Holly Rowe, and our entire crew, Brad Nessler saying so long from Columbus. Tuscaloosa is coming up next. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Let's go south. Brent Musburger, Kirk Herbstreit. Guys, it's all yours.